My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 526. He is really not a pervert. Medical center. VIP delivery room. How long will it take? Rachel was unhappy. It's hard to say. Just wait patiently, Dr. Montgomery said, gave a few instructions, and left. Adam. Ross pulled Adam. What's wrong? Adam asked curiously. Does the method you mentioned still work now? Ross asked quietly. Don't. Adam's mouth twitched, and he looked at Ross with a perverted look. I'm just asking, Ross said embarrassedly. You know Rachel wants to give birth early, and I'm doing this for her. Can you please stop looking at me like that? You're a university professor, Adam said contemptuously. I proposed this method before because the due date has arrived and there is no movement, so I wanted to use you to promote labor. Do you know what's going on now? Rachel's water broke. Her cervix is 2 centimeters dilated, and your daughter Emma will be born soon. You are useless now. Of course, the original method can't be used, otherwise, you are just poking Emma with a needle. In your situation, you shouldn't be able to poke her, but you shouldn't even think about this kind of thing. You are so evil. Don't let anyone know that you have had this idea, otherwise, others will definitely think you are a beast. Facing countless perverted eyes, Ross was extremely angry. You can say it, but why are you so loud? It's the first child for a newlywed couple, so they have no experience. They just got married and are too affectionate, Adam explains to Liz, the only outsider in the delivery room. Seriously, he's really not a pervert. I can understand. Liz's mouth twitched. Oh my God, Ross. Monica, her sister, couldn't help but complain. No wonder Mom looked like she couldn't bear to say more when she talked about you dating those bar girls last time. What have you been through in the past few years since you and Rachel separated? What have you been thinking about every day? Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey all looked at Ross and shook their heads. I didn't. Ross was extremely angry. He wanted to slap himself a few times. Damn it. Why did he ask this question? Watch less Discovery Channel in the future. Phoebe had an I understand expression. Animals are of course wild, but we are still human after all. Ross's favorite thing to watch is the Discovery Channel, exploring nature and biology. Just look at how he comforted Rachel, who was very upset because there was no movement on the due date, and how clever the seahorse father was in charge of raising eggs. Yes, Ross, a good man should be gentle. The playboy Joey also taught Ross seriously. Ross didn't want to talk anymore. Okay, let's go out and wait. Adam smiled and said, let Ross stay with Rachel. Ross, always pay attention to Rachel's condition. If she feels uncomfortable, call for medical care immediately. Okay. Ross glared at Adam. By the way, just pay attention, don't have any other thoughts. Adam gave a few more instructions, but before he finished speaking, he saw Ross rushing towards him, and smiled and left. An hour later, Rachel's cervix was only 3 centimeters open, far from the 10 centimeters of childbirth. As expected, this will be a long process. Noon, buffet restaurant. Hey, where are Chandler and Monica? Phoebe asked curiously. Adam sat down with a plate and smiled. At this moment, what do you think Monica and Chandler want to do most? Oh, Phoebe thought about it, and smiled with sudden realization. You mean making a baby? Adam smiled and nodded. Here? Wow, Phoebe said in anticipation. It looks so exciting. The beds here are all disinfected, which is perfect for Monica, who has a mysophobia. Adam laughed. Besides, this is a hospital. Monica is particularly wild today because of Rachel's birth. She doesn't need to be contained. It's okay to torture Chandler to death. At most, he can be sent to the hospital. Ha ha ha. Phoebe laughed non-stop when she heard it. Where's Joey? Adam looked at him. Phoebe imitated Adam and laughed. The young female doctor who is in charge of Rachel is beautiful and has a good figure. What do you think? Joey still hasn't learned his lesson. Adam shook his head. How are you doing recently? Just like that. Phoebe shrugged. Not good or bad. Wow. At this point, she caught sight of a figure. Her eyes lit up, and she stood up directly. threw down a word, and disappeared. Bye. Adam ran in the direction she ran, and saw a handsome guy in plaster being pushed by a nurse. Phoebe's mentality was as young as ever. After lunch, Adam went to the emergency room. Rachel didn't know when she would give birth, so she couldn't just wait and waste time and life. They were busy until the evening. Rachel's cervix only opened to 5 centimeters. It looks like she will have to wait until tomorrow morning to give birth. Adam said to everyone, "Do you want to go back and rest first, or should I find you a bed to rest here?" "Go back." Here. Chandler, who was weak in the legs, and Monica, who was excited, shouted out completely different answers. "Right here. Don't think you can rest when you go back." Monica vetoed Chandler's idea of being lazy and not working hard. "You've asked for leave. Just wait here." Joey and Phoebe also wanted to wait here, but looking at their flickering eyes, you can tell that they all have a purpose. Adam didn't say much and found them a room directly. No words all night. The next day, early in the morning, early shift time, with Rachel's cry of pain, after 21 hours, her cervix finally opened to 10 centimeters and officially entered the state of labor. In the original time and space, Rachel's fetal position was abnormal and Emma's breech position was downward. In this case, it was very difficult to give birth naturally. Leonard didn't know whether he was angry or something, and he didn't pay much attention. As a result, Rachel had a difficult birth and was in danger for a time. In this life, with Adam as a bridge of communication, the relationship between Rachel and Leonard is much better than in the original time and space, and they contact each other more. Rachel has been doing pregnancy checkups at the medical center in the later period. When Emma was 8 months old, the fetal position was fixed, which was breech position. After Adam and Leonard knew about it, they paid great attention and used various auxiliary means to help Rachel successfully adjust the fetal position. So, in this life, Rachel was still in excruciating pain during childbirth, but it didn't last that long. After beating Ross, who almost didn't pull over to accompany the birth, she finally gave birth to Emma smoothly. Afterwards, speaking of this, everyone said Ross deserved it. "Your wife is in excruciating pain, swaying back and forth, and accidentally bumping your head, and you dare to touch your forehead and say shamelessly, 'It hurts so much.' Nothing hurts more than this." Rachel was held there and couldn't move, and her temper was okay. Otherwise, if it were someone with a bad temper, she would probably stop giving birth and drag you over to beat you up, and then ask while beating you, "Does it hurt? Does it hurt? Is there anything more painful?" Pain science is graded 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th level of severe pain is continuous severe pain accompanied by changes in blood pressure and pulse. Obviously, childbirth is the highest level of pain at the 4th level. Folk legends rank pain 12 levels. 1st level is the pain of a mosquito bite, and 12th level is also the pain of childbirth. The so-called 1 plus 12 equals 13 level of pain for a pregnant woman bitten by a mosquito during childbirth is simply nonsense. In the face of the severe pain of childbirth, the pain of a mosquito bite is not superimposed, but directly covered, and cannot be felt at all. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 16110605240780 for the reward. Today is the 2nd update. It is too stressful to continue updating 3 times a day. I will be lazy today, Sunday. Please forgive me. Chapter 527 Godfather Medical Center. VIP delivery room. OMG, she's so beautiful. When Rachel cleaned up and held Emma with a sweet face, Ross was happily filming her with the camera sent by Adam. Everyone pushed the door and walked in, signed together. "I'm so glad you guys went to bed after drinking." The eldest Aunt Monica took little Emma, hugged her in her arms, looked at her again, and couldn't help crying. This is not the first time she has been an aunt. Ross's first son Ben is 8 years old. But Ben can't be compared with Emma. After all, one is the son of a sinister lesbian who framed his brother and asked his brother to pay for his upbringing, but he can't see him many times a year. The other is the daughter of his best friend who was framed by his brother, got pregnant by drunkenness, and hangs out with him every day. The weight is naturally completely different. "It's my turn, Aunt Phoebe." Phoebe reached out and took Emma from Monica, then held her in her arms and looked at her. She said curiously, "Oh, Baby, you are so cute. I can crush your little head." Then she realized that there was something wrong with what she said, and quickly looked at everyone and explained, "But I won't do that." "Okay, Aunt Phoebe, that's enough. It's Uncle Joey's turn." Joey clapped his hands and took little Emma. "Wow, she looks so real." "By the way, it's not Uncle Joey, it should be Godfather Joey. I want to be Emma's godfather." Rachel and Ross looked at each other, both a little hesitant. "What's wrong?" Joey heard their movement and looked at them. "Sorry, Joey," Ross explained. "It's not against anyone, but we want Adam to be Emma's godfather." "Yes," Rachel agreed. "Adam has done a lot for Emma." "What?" Joey immediately quit and shouted, "I came up with this idea, and of course it's more appropriate for us Italians to be the godfather." To show his appreciation, he immediately recited the classic lines from the movie The Godfather. "Do you spend time with your family?" "Of course I do." "Very good. A man who doesn't take care of his family is not a man at all." Then he excitedly said, "See, I'll be a good godfather." Joey, Rachel and Ross were both embarrassed. Not every child needs a godfather. But after becoming parents, Rachel and Ross began to consider their daughter. If a big man came to be the godfather since childhood, little Emma would win at the starting line. Joey is just a TV actor who is not very popular. He can provide Emma with limited resources in the future, and as a parent, he doesn't want his daughter to enter the dirty entertainment industry. And among the crowd, of course, only Adam can be called a big man. They made friends without utilitarianism, but when it came to their own daughter, they couldn't help but become a little utilitarian. "What are you talking about?" At this time, Adam walked in. "Adam, you are not allowed to compete with me." Joey told the story, holding little Emma, with a vigilant look on his face. "Haha." Adam smiled and said, "Let Joey be the godfather." "I have no interest in being a godfather." "Just kidding. Once the door is opened, how many godchildren will he have in the future?" Chandler and Monica seem to have at least 2, and there is no upper limit. Matthew and Lily are so loving, and in memory, they also have more than 2 children. In the future, there will be Sheldon and Amy's 15 children, Howard and Bernadette's son and daughter, and Leonard and Penny's children. These are all friends in Adam's core circle of friends. As long as they ask, Adam doesn't want to refuse. Just like this, there are more than 10 at random. If you don't tighten the bag in advance, those second-level friends, once they have children, they probably want him to be the godfather. By then, it will be easy to break dozens. You know, being a godfather is both an honor and a responsibility. It's really scary to think that so many godchildren have become naughty kids and are around him every day. And he estimates that with the continuous improvement of his physical fitness and lifespan, he will age very slowly, or even not age at all. After all, people in their 50s are old for people with a lifespan of 70. But for a 200-year-old person, people in their 50s are just adults. They may even have acne. When that time comes, a godfather who looks about the same age as the goddaughters and has all kinds of halos, who knows what embarrassing things the open-minded American girls will do. As a precaution, Adam decided not to take in godchildren as much as possible. If Joey wants to be one, let him be one. Adam. Rachel was dissatisfied. "You have done so much for Emma, you should be her godfather." "If it weren't for you, she would be an illegitimate daughter now. And if it weren't for you, she would have to have a cesarean section to give birth to the baby because of the abnormal fetal position. By then, her physical condition would definitely be weaker than that of ordinary people." "You told me this." Adam noticed the expectations of Rachel, who was incarnated as a mother, and felt a headache. It's not easy to refuse this. Looking at Joey's red eyes, you can tell that when someone invites you to be the godfather of their child, it is the greatest recognition of you. If it were an ordinary friend, he could refuse. But once close friends like Rachel asked again and again, Adam would have few reasons to refuse. Otherwise, it would be really disrespectful. "Adam, you can be Emma's godfather." Monica also noticed Rachel's thoughts and advised, "You and Joey can both be godfathers. There is no rule that there can only be one godfather." Yes, when Joey heard that he still had a chance, he immediately clapped his hands and cheered. In our entertainment industry, there are child stars who have recognized countless big figures in the circle as godfathers and godmothers. They have obtained countless good resources in the circle since they were young. They can do it. Why does Emma only recognize one? Is it still possible? Rachel's eyes lit up. She originally thought that recognizing a godfather was a very serious matter, and only recognizing one would show specialness and respect, so she refused Joey to choose Adam. But now it seems that you can choose more than one, so what is the point of multiple choice questions? Children, of course they want all. I don't really understand these things either. Adam smiled bitterly and said, but if you insist, I can be Emma's godfather, but let me make it clear first. I don't know if I will have children in this life. I really don't know how to be a godfather. It doesn't matter. When Rachel heard this, her eyes became brighter. When the time comes, just love Emma more, that's all. It's best to love Emma as the only child. In that way, her daughter will be transformed into a princess directly. When she thought of this, Rachel's labor pains and postpartum depression disappeared without a trace, and her heart was full of infinite yearning for her baby daughter's future princess life. It doesn't matter if Adam can't be a godfather, she will teach Emma. As her biological mother, she is the most proficient in pleasing her father and asking for benefits since she was a child. The second sister Amy and the third sister Jill are still using the routines she created casually back then. In this regard, she dares to say that she is the most professional. It is guaranteed that by then, without Adam taking the initiative, the relationship between godfather and goddaughter can be achieved in the most harmonious way of acting coquettishly. Godfather Joey, you've held her enough. Now it's Godfather Adam's turn. Monica reminded Joey to hand little Emma to Adam. Come, Godfather Adam, hold your goddaughter. Okay. Seeing this, Adam had no choice but to agree. He reached out to take little Emma and looked down. Hey, she smiled. Emma smiled. Yeah, really, it seems that she likes the godfather her mother found for her. Let me see. Too much. I'm also your godfather. I just held you for so long. Why don't you smile at me? Looking at little Emma, who smiled as soon as she was in his arms, Adam was unconsciously happy. He was rational and knew that this had nothing to do with him. The smile of a newborn baby is a natural expression of a comfortable mood and satisfaction inside the body. He was just in the right place. But, it's a joy to watch, isn't it? Chapter 528. I have a bold idea. Medical center. After Emma was born, visitors began to come in an endless stream. When Leonard learned that Rachel asked Adam to be the godfather of her first granddaughter Emma, he vividly interpreted what it meant to laugh. You have always said that I favor your eldest sister Rachel, but look at what she did. Can you blame me for favoring her? Leonard said to his two daughters in high spirits. What's so great about it? The second daughter Amy said disdainfully. No matter what, he is just a godfather. Can a godfather be compared with a biological father? The biological father of her child will be a billionaire by then. In other words, she doesn't care about showing off. Otherwise, she would use this to slap her in the face now. Okay. She was also afraid that after being slapped in the face like this, she would be in danger of being physically slapped in the face by her father. That's why she didn't confess. Rachel can do it, so can I. The younger sister Jill was much simpler in her mind, and she said directly that she wanted to imitate her elder sister. When I have a child, I will also let Adam be the godfather. Don't dream. The second daughter Amy hit back. Do you think anyone can let Adam be the godfather? Rachel is a good friend of him, and her father is raising her. You don't even think about it. I am also my father's daughter. Jill was unconvinced and said, I can also be his good friend. Haha. The second daughter Amy sneered. You are so naive. Just recognize Adam as the godfather directly. That's fine. Jill's eyes lit up. Okay. Leonard's mouth twitched when he heard it, fearing that the two careless daughters would say something weird that would make his heart explode. So he quickly interrupted. Let Rachel have a good rest. Let's go. Then he said a few words to Rachel and took the two daughters away. At night, Rachel, who did not suffer too much, showed the toughness of Western women. She carried Emma directly back to the apartment and participated in the celebration party, so that all relatives and friends could see Emma. There was no such thing as bed rest and confinement. As a heavyweight godfather, Adam had to take time to attend. Because this celebration party was both a welcome party and a godfather recognition ceremony, Adam was helpless. This was the rhythm of being a father, hopeless or helpless. Adam was forced by Rachel to hold Emma and move around among the crowd in Joey's jealous eyes. Fortunately, even relatives and friends have circles. After the initial excitement, everyone began to gather in groups of 3 or 2 to chat. Adam was still surrounded by good friends such as Chandler, Joey, and Phoebe. "Hi, the baby is here." Just as everyone surrounded Adam and teased Emma, Amy came over excitedly. "Listen, I just had a brilliant idea." "Stop," Rachel raised her hand to interrupt. "We don't need brilliant ideas." She knew this sister. She was too unreliable. The more brilliant the other party's ideas were, the more you couldn't listen to them. "Ugh," Amy said dissatisfiedly, "I'm Emma's second aunt. Don't I have the right to say a few words?" "Go ahead." Adam also wanted to change his mind. Being surrounded by so many people teasing Emma in his arms almost made him feel that he was Emma's father. At this moment, he urgently needed to hear a different voice. "Listen," Amy clapped her hands with shining eyes and said, "I just thought, if you die now, then I can have the baby. It's just like the plot of a movie. At first I will have no idea. Then when a certain opportunity comes, I will change completely. Then I will get married and live happily." "What a great movie." Joey pursed his lips and said, "Maybe you will raise the baby with Emma's godfather Joey. At first you will have many conflicts, but in the end you will collide with many sparks." "Stop," Amy interrupted directly. "This is not our day, and you don't wear such thick makeup, so don't say it. If it's changed to Godfather Adam, there is a slight possibility, but it's just a slight possibility." Then she ignored Joey, whose face darkened, and looked at Rachel and Ross again. "Let's get back to the point. You will be dead by then, so you can't stop me. I want to change her name first. I don't like her current name very much." "Enough." Rachel frowned and said, "If something happens to Ross and I." Speaking of this, she and Ross knocked on the table at the same time. In the West, this means bringing good luck. It was a classic move to resolve bad luck by saying something unlucky. ... You won't get a baby." Rachel laughed. "What? Who will it be?" Amy couldn't accept it. "Well, we haven't officially talked about it." Rachel and Ross looked at each other and laughed. "But we hope it's Monica and Chandler." "Really?" Chandler and Monica looked honored. "Of course it's true." Adam laughed. "Is there anyone better than you here? Your relationship is stable. Monica will be a good mother, and Chandler, after you eliminate the psychological shadow, you will definitely be a good father." "If it were me, if one day I have a child and I unfortunately die." Dong dong. Adam also knocked on the table. "This is considered a Western superstition, but when in Rome, do as the Romans do." In addition, the time travel plus system is mysterious enough. Therefore, Adam thinks it's right to be a little odd. "I also hope that Chandler and Monica will raise the child. Or Matthew and Lily." Adam laughed. "Originally, the first choice should be the child's grandparents, Dad Bob and Mom Amy, but when that time comes, they are already very old. It is very tiring for the elderly to take care of children. In addition, although the old parents can give their grandchildren enough love, the level of the old father Bob in taking care of children is really untrustworthy." Adam dare not pin his hopes on the old and frail father Bob, and whether he can still jump and catch the child he threw in the air like he did when he was young. At that time, he didn't catch it. Among the remaining brothers and sisters, only the second child Teddy can make people feel relieved. But compared with Chandler and Monica, Matthew and Lily, Teddy is still a child at this time. Of course, Adam has also thought about his best friend Juno. He believes that once entrusted, Juno will definitely raise the child with heart. With Juno's dual talent of psychological theory and practice that can see through people's hearts, as long as she is attentive, she will definitely become the best mother and best friend of the child. Accompanying the child's growth in this capacity will definitely guide the child to the road of success. But the environment and atmosphere of Juno and Karen are not very suitable for raising children, even if they try their best to hide it. But the children raised by them will inevitably be infected with some unique temperament. What if they wear the Little Red Riding Hood suit because of a disagreement? What should we do? The child does not have Juno's talent or Adam's system. Therefore, Juno is the first to be excluded. As for Peggy and the others, forget it. Leonard's lesson is still vivid in our minds. Among all the choices, there are only Chandler and Monica. Matthew and Lily. They have feelings, 3 views, motherhood, patience, and family. They have the conditions to form a happy family and maintain this happiness forever. They are the most trustworthy choice to give children a happy family. P.S. Thank you __ for the reward. Chapter 529. Snow. Peggy enters the mortal world. The excitement of Rachel's birth gradually faded away. What followed was Peggy's mother's wedding. Adam seemed to have returned to his previous life, when it was the end of the year and friends and relatives gathered to get married during holidays. At that time, single dogs suffered from red bombs one after another, which was really terrible. Not only did they work for a month or 2 in vain, but they would even eat dog food until they vomited. It was not uncommon to go to several events in one day. In Adam's previous life, he even drank until he vomited at noon that day, and at night and noon the next day. He was still not completely sober. He went to the same hotel, the same table of food, and the same group of people twice. He really had no appetite. The embarrassing situation of almost no one touching the full tables of food. After everyone handed over the red envelopes, they stared at each other, feeling distressed and unable to breathe. The other 2 classmates who got married soon after were not embarrassed at all. They said, "I urge you to drink more wine. There will be no friends after you go west of Yanquin. My friends, drink this cup." They work in other provinces, and it is not easy to come back to get married. Although we have already held a wedding in my hometown, I have to treat my dear friends before leaving. This is etiquette. Time is limited. Seeing that the first wedding was so lively, I decided to book 2 more in this hotel. Just right. Everyone is here. Everything is ready. I never expected it. At the end of the year, there are too many weddings. In order to prepare food conveniently, the hotel has the same dishes. What's more exciting is that Adam and his friends were originally only here to attend 1 wedding banquet, but how come there are suddenly 2 more? They are classmates who are rarely contacted and have no sense of existence. Under normal circumstances, they don't have to attend their wedding banquets, but just when they were drunk at the first wedding banquet, they suddenly showed their cards. They also got married in their hometown. This time they came here not only to attend the wedding of the most popular class monitor in the class, but also to take advantage of everyone being here, so they also held it together. It saves trouble. Lively. Don't go back if you drink too much. The hotel rooms have been arranged. Have a good sleep, and continue when you wake up. Current classmates. It's not a martial ethics. What's more exciting is, in the year when Adam traveled through time, Adam, who was single, still had not recovered the money he had spent, which was equivalent to more than a year's income. There was no news from the 2 assassin classmates. Even if Adam got married before traveling through time, it would be impossible to recover the money from the 2. Thinking about it made him feel very sad. Adam seriously suspected that some single god felt sorry for him, so he made him travel through time and the system, and lost him a wonderful life. In this life, he not only got rid of his single status, but also attended the wedding with the goddess who had thousands of fans. Even if this was not the wedding of the goddess's mother, he could still choose other female friends to attend. Alas, thinking about it carefully, the contrast is so great that it really seems like a dream. Peggy's mother's wedding date is set for Saturday. The location is in a small town near Washington, D.C. Friday night, after work, Adam rushed to New Jersey to meet up with Peggy and rushed there overnight. He had wasted a lot of time because Rachel gave birth to a daughter. This time, it happened to be his turn to rest tomorrow, so he didn't plan to take another leave. He would come back after the wedding tomorrow. Washington, D.C. is only 300 kilometers away from New York, and it only takes 40 minutes by plane. But Adam, who is a very stable person, would not take a plane if he could, so he planned to drive Peggy there. Most people only need to drive for 4 hours. Peggy's apartment. Boss, does this bridesmaid dress look good on Peggy? When Adam arrived, assistant Lisa was trying on the bridesmaid dress with Peggy. Lisa, I have an important task for you now, Adam said solemnly. Contact the bridal shop right now and buy 10 more wedding dresses according to Peggy's size as backup. 10 backups? Lisa was stunned. Yes, Adam said in a deep voice. I know that this kind of wedding dress is not mass-produced. If you can't find one that is exactly the same as this one, You can change it to another style. At that time, according to their sizes, Peggy's mother's wedding dress for the bride and Erica's bridesmaid wedding dress will also be matched with 10 sets. In short, they must have a set of spares for the 3 of them, and they must be the best. After all, the protagonist today is Peggy's mother. We must do our best and there can be no accidents. Do you understand? Ah, I understand. Lisa was shocked by Adam's series of words and attitude. Even though she was blinded the whole time, she could only agree first. When she walked out of the apartment, at the moment of closing the door, she turned around and saw the boss's actions. Then she came to her senses and cursed with a red face. But no matter how much she cursed, she still had to follow the boss's instructions meticulously. She could only complain in her heart and contact the wedding dress shop to have 10 sets of the best bride and bridesmaid wedding dresses. She could even imagine the scene where the wedding dress shop owner was shocked and then smiled like a flower. Peggy's apartment. 10 spare sets? What do you mean? Peggy, who was looking at herself in the mirror, turned around and looked at Adam in confusion. Go on. Adam seemed to see Penny's Leonard possessed. The moment Lisa went out, his pants were already on the ground. At this moment, he was taking off his shirt and nodding to Peggy to ignore him and continue talking. Faced with Adam's coquettish operation, how could Peggy say anything? Facts have proved that Adam's prediction was right. 10 spare sets are really not too many. The wedding in the East uses bright red and avoids white because of the influence of customs. But the West has different customs. They pay more attention to revealing their feelings. Ren Shuzhu said, people should be pretty and filial. The West grasped the essence and directly moved this visual effect to the wedding, allowing the bride to spend the day they think is the most worth pursuing in their lives in the prettiest state. Peggy's beauty, coupled with a high-end white wedding dress, is really an ice and snow girl entering the mortal world. The mortal Adam said, don't leave if you come. So, the original plan to rush there overnight was completely forgotten. The next day, knock, 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 knock. Boss, it's too late if we don't leave now. Lisa saw that there was still no movement from the other side. She first sent a text message, then called, but found that the phone was turned off. Finally, she had to come over and knock on the bedroom door repeatedly. No hurry. Adam's voice came from the bedroom. There's still time. Boss, are you not ready yet? Lisa looked at the snow-white living room and couldn't help but cover her face and complain. What a waste. What a good bridesmaid wedding dress. One for $5,000 is gone. And because there are not so many of the same style, Lisa really picked out 10 other styles overnight to complete the task given by Adam. Even Erica's bridesmaid wedding dress and Peggy's mother's bridal wedding dress have to be changed. The bridal wedding dress is a little more expensive, costing $10,000. 3 pieces is $20,000. With this calculation, even the other bridesmaid wedding dresses and bridal wedding dress can be returned at that time. The boss spent $70,000 to enjoy the night. Hiss. Shameful rich man. Chapter 530. Speedy Car God. The sun was high in the sky. Under Lisa's speechless gaze, Adam finally came out of the bedroom refreshed. Get ready. We're leaving. Boss, are you sure we're still in time? Lisa complained. It's already 9 o'clock, and the wedding is at 12 o'clock. I haven't booked a flight. It doesn't matter, we'll drive there. As Adam spoke, he turned on his phone, and countless phone and text message reminders popped up, all from Ted, Erica and others. Ted, something happened before, so the plan changed. We're leaving now. Don't worry, we'll still be in time. We won't miss the wedding. You can tell them. Don't worry. That's it. He hung up the phone. As Lisa's mouth twitched, Adam and Peggy went into the bathroom to take a shower. Half an hour later, in front of the car downstairs. Lisa, you don't have a heart disease, do you? Adam confirmed. No. Lisa shook her head immediately, and then she had an ominous premonition in her heart and said, Boss, why do you ask that? The car is going a little fast. Don't worry. It's okay. Adam smiled and got into the driver's seat. Boss, I think I have a congenital heart disease. Lisa, who was holding 3 wedding dresses, felt that she still had a heart disease. It's okay. Adam comforted. You forgot that I am the best cardiothoracic surgeon. Get in the car. We are in a hurry. Peggy got into the passenger seat without saying a word. Adam had taken her in the fastest car before, and she was not worried at all. Lisa made a bitter face, got into the back seat, and immediately fastened her seat belt. "Well, you have a good sense of safety," Adam nodded and praised. "I was going to remind you to fasten your seat belt, boss. It's just a wedding, not your wedding." Lisa couldn't help but persuade, "If you can't make it in time, don't make it in time. Don't have an accident because of this." At this point, she seemed to know that she was not important enough, and looked at Peggy sitting in the passenger seat. "Peggy is also in the car," she looked like. "If you are not here, my safety should be taken care of, but Peggy's safety should also be taken care of." "Yes." Adam adjusted the rearview mirror and smiled at Lisa through it. "Peggy is in the car too." "If you don't believe me, do you also not believe Peggy?" Lisa paused and was speechless. Normally, she trusted Peggy very much, but when Peggy met Adam, she had to doubt. Her mother's wedding was about to take place, and Peggy, as the bridesmaid, could still accompany Adam to go crazy until now. She was almost late, but she didn't show any signs of anxiety. In this situation, how could she trust Peggy? "Okay, everything is fine, right?" Adam smiled and started the Porsche 911 sports car he bought not long ago. After his IQ exceeded 180, he became a super genius and had bullet time. Adam bought this new car. After all, the speed of a sports car is much faster than a wild car. Adam had to travel back and forth between New York and New Jersey frequently, so it made sense to buy a sports car to save precious time. "Let's go." As soon as the words fell, the car roared and flew out like an arrow. Although Lisa in the back seat had been prepared, she was still frightened by the strong push on her back. Then, something that frightened her even more finally happened. This is a city. There is a constant flow of traffic, but Adam continued to accelerate, constantly overtaking one car after another, watching the cars whizzing by, and glancing at the pointer on the dashboard that was already 142 kilometers per hour and still moving downward. Lisa trembled. She wanted to shout out loud, "Boss, slow down, don't go so fast." But when the words came to her lips, they were suppressed by her only rationality. Not to mention that Adam would definitely ignore her. The most important thing is that at this fast moment, she thinks it is better not to talk to the driver. If the driver is distracted, she will be buried with him. When the car slid through the traffic like a fish and drove to the endless road in the suburbs with few cars, Lisa was about to breathe a sigh of relief, but found that the speed had exceeded 246 kilometers per hour. The most important thing is, it is still accelerating. Slow down. At this time, she couldn't help it anymore, closed her eyes, and screamed. Although there was no traffic that could hit her at any time, but on this kind of road, if she drove at this speed, what if a blind rabbit, or an animal like a kangaroo suddenly appeared, or a rock lifted up on a certain section of the road? The car would definitely be destroyed and people would die. "Don't worry." Adam glanced at her in the rearview mirror and smiled and comforted her. "The maximum speed of this sports car is only 280 kilometers per hour. I won't speed up anymore. There is enough time." Lisa opened her eyes and looked at the dial. It was already 269 kilometers per hour. It really wouldn't speed up anymore. Now she also understood why Adam was so confident that he could make it. A total of more than 300 kilometers. At this speed, it would take more than an hour to finish. Departing at 9:30 and arriving around 10 o'clock. How could she dare to imagine that it usually takes 4 hours to drive? In addition to fear, Lisa couldn't help complaining. "Boss, are you really not afraid of death?" "Of course I'm afraid of death." Adam smiled and said, "Why else would I rarely take a plane? I think flying is definitely safer than driving." Lisa complained, "No, it's 10,000 times safer." "That's your illusion." Adam smiled slightly. He also had to bring a parachute with him when flying. If he happened to be in the ocean, even with a parachute, it would be a little dangerous, because you don't know how long you will drift. Of course, with Adam's endurance and strength, he would have great survivability even in the ocean. Just swim slowly. If you run into a shark or something, You can tame it and control it to roam the ocean and be a sea king. Driving a car and being a speedster seems much more dangerous than flying, but for Adam, who has bullet time and excellent reaction speed, it is a safer way to travel than flying. It seems that he is shuttling through the traffic at a high speed. If the car in front of him changes lanes without instructions, he will be hit immediately. But with Adam's bullet time and excellent reaction speed, these are not a problem. 10 o'clock in the morning, in front of a classic Me-style detached house. As Ted was looking forward to it, a handsome Porsche sports car did a tailspin and stopped steadily at the door. "Did you really drive here?" Ted looked at his watch in disbelief, and then he stopped questioning. Because the back seat was open, Lisa got out, covered her mouth and ran to the trash can, vomiting violently. Adam took out the 3 packaged wedding dresses from the back seat and smiled at the stunned Ted. "Where are the bride and bridesmaids? They need to change wedding dresses." "Change wedding dresses? Why?" Ted couldn't understand. "Because this wedding dress is more beautiful." Adam smiled and said, "Believe me, they will like it." Chapter 531, Soon give birth to a daughter. The bride's dressing room. Change the wedding dress temporarily? When Adam made this suggestion, Peggy's mother and sister were very dissatisfied. This was the wedding dress they had carefully selected. How could they change it just like that? Then, Adam showed off the new wedding dress. Because they couldn't find the same style, Lisa followed Adam's advice and chose the most expensive wedding dress that could be obtained immediately. You get what you pay for. The most expensive is of course the best. This was the treasure of the store that the salesperson in the bridal shop would never take out when they went shopping. To quote someone who often deals with bridal shops, the salesperson in the bridal shop can see your true purchasing power at a glance through the style of your underwear. When Erica and her mother went shopping, although they carefully selected, the grades they could touch were much different after all. Peggy's bridesmaid wedding dress was bought separately. The style is the same, but the grade is obviously much higher. When the new wedding dress was shown, Erica and her mother's eyes immediately lit up, and their dissatisfied and unwilling expressions disappeared instantly, and they happily began to try on the new wedding dress. Adam stepped out and came to the groom's side. "David, congratulations." Adam congratulated. "Thank you." David, dressed in a groom's suit, was full of joy. Adam had just noticed that Peggy's mother did not show any signs of pregnancy. It seemed that they were not rushing to get married. Seeing how happy they were, they must be in true love. The wedding was held soon. Ted and Erica were the first to come out hand in hand. Handsome men and beautiful women, wearing wedding dresses, attracted the guests attending the wedding to nod their heads repeatedly. After all, it is normal for ordinary people to have ordinary looks. For people in the small town, people like Ted and Erica can only be seen in TV dramas. Therefore, when Adam came out hand in hand with Peggy, it caused a sensation. Everyone was stunned. This, David's sister Angela, who was sitting in the front row, had her eyes wide open and murmured, "No, David must have a child with Linda, preferably a daughter." Originally, as for Linda already having 2 daughters and not wanting to have any more children, and David being considerate of his wife and willing not to have any more children, as a younger sister, she had no objection. She even secretly supported it, because she felt that her brother David and Linda were developing too fast, and problems would inevitably arise in the future. By then, her brother would become a single father. For her brother David, who was starting a business, this was not a small burden. Instead of that, it would be better not to have children from the beginning. Let's see how things go. If their relationship was stable and her brother David's career was making progress, then we'd talk about it later. But now, she saw Linda's 2 daughters, especially Peggy, appearing in her field of vision in such a posture. What idea of not having children first and waiting? Go to hell. Have children, must have children, and have them as soon as possible. Even if there were problems in their relationship in the future, it wouldn't matter if her brother David was too burdened as a single father. As a younger sister, she could totally help her brother take care of the children. Such a delicate and beautiful girl completely touched her maternal instinct as an old leftover woman. "I really want to have such a daughter right away." Angela's eyes were burning. The music started. Bride Linda appeared at the wedding for the second time with her father on her arm. Being a father in the United States is not easy. Fathers often have to let their daughters hold their arms again and again. Twice is not too many. Some have been held on their arms more than a dozen times. When the groom David took the bride from his father-in-law's hand, walked up to the altar, stood on both sides of the priest, and smiled sweetly at each other, Ted and Erica stood behind them. Adam and Peggy stood behind Ted and Erica, 3 pairs of wedding dresses, like 3 newlyweds. Adam and Peggy looked at each other, feeling an inexplicable sense of strangeness. The process was going on. Adam and Peggy were mainly foils. Ted and Erica were the chief best man and chief bridesmaid. They were responsible for handing over the vows and wedding rings to the bride and groom in a timely manner. This was not an idle drama. Of course, there was no dog-blooded scene where Peggy's father suddenly opened the door and wanted to remarry Linda. There was no dog-blooded scene where a woman ran in and shouted that she didn't agree and David was hers. The wedding ended smoothly. Next, it was time to take wedding photos. There are various group photos. After the newlyweds took their photos, the best man, bridesmaids and the newlyweds took several group photos. These photos will be developed and put into the wedding album. Or like Adam's sister Teddy, these photos can be made into frames and hung on the walls of the house to record and show these happy moments. Peggy, I am your Aunt Angela. Let's take a group photo. David's sister Angela, after taking the most important groups of photos, immediately came over and said amiably, "Okay." Peggy glanced at her and nodded. This made Angela very happy, and she took many photos with Peggy, so much so that her brother David couldn't bear to watch. "That's enough." David came over and reminded her, "Okay." Angela was still not satisfied, so she pulled her brother David aside and whispered, "David, I've thought about it. Linda is not young anymore. You should hurry up and have a baby. We can't have no bloodline in the Grossman family." This big change in attitude naturally surprised David, but after Angela explained the reason, he looked at the ice and snow girl Peggy not far away, and thought about him and his lover Linda giving birth to a daughter like Peggy, and he couldn't help but be moved. When you reach middle age, your state of mind is different from when you were young and just wanted to be together for the rest of your life. I'll discuss it with Linda. David agreed. That's great. Angela was overjoyed. Don't delay. While you are still young, tell Linda that although Erica and Peggy are good, they are not the fruit of your and Linda's love. They will only call you Uncle David, not Dad. Yeah. David nodded. I have thought of a name for your daughter. You like Jane Austen's novel Emma the most. Your daughter will be named Emma. Emma Grossman. Angela continued to encourage very actively. Emma Grossman? David kept repeating the name, and a bright smile gradually appeared on his face. He was completely convinced. I like this name. Even so, Angela was still worried, and secretly told David to have a good time tonight and not to talk about private topics such as safety measures. David couldn't listen anymore, interrupted, said I know, and went to find the bride Linda. Even if he was moved, he had to talk to his lover Linda first. This is a must for respect. In the garden, boss. Look here, Peggy, put your hand on the boss's neck. Yes, that's it, boss, your hand. Don't be so natural, be restrained, and hold it back. Lisa also started her part-time job at this time. She set up the camera on a tripod not far away and set it to shooting mode, and then took various portraits of Adam and Peggy with the camera hanging around her neck. Chapter 532, Bridal Chamber Disturbance. Next, it was the wedding party. After the newlyweds danced their first dance, everyone started looking for partners to dance with. Adam naturally danced with Peggy. To the slow music, a group of people sang and danced. Adam was very observant, and while dancing with Peggy in his arms, he heard the newlyweds David and Linda whispering in each other's arms. David is talking to Linda about having a baby. Adam whispered the news directly to Peggy's ear. Having a baby? Peggy couldn't help but look over and saw her mother Linda's hesitant expression. Yeah, Adam smiled. David wants to have a child with Linda, and it would be best if the child is as beautiful and lovely as you. Linda hesitated and said she wanted to ask your opinion. Peggy said indifferently, I have no opinion, but I hope that this time your attention will not be completely attracted by the child again. If she ignores David and causes a breakdown in their relationship, I'm afraid the child won't be able to bear it psychologically. Actually, there's no need to worry too much about this. Adam lowered his head, rested his forehead against Peggy's forehead, looked into Peggy's eyes, and smiled. Every failure makes you wiser. Your mother will balance the proportion of attention she pays to the child and your husband this time. In addition, David is not a man who will be jealous of his own child. I think your half-brother or sister in the future will not be blamed like you. Haha. Peggy was amused by Adam. Her indifference faded, and she joked, "That's right, even if my mother didn't learn her lesson, Uncle David would be jealous. If my future half-brother or sister really takes the blame, won't she still have a professional like you to comfort her?" After so many years, your persuasiveness has greatly improved. You are not as immature as you were when you first tried to persuade me. I am sure you will convince everyone by then. Immature? Adam raised his eyebrows. Are you sure you are talking about me? I remember that someone was so moved that he cried because of what I said. Oh, Peggy glanced at Adam. If Sheldon, who is very similar to me, had not been there to offer me hot drinks, and if you hadn't said a lot of things that made me so anxious and a little moved, do you really think you could make me cry? It was just that I wanted to cry. Anyway, you cried. Adam didn't care about that, with an expression that said, no matter how powerful you are, you were beaten by the monkey with a golden cudgel. Speaking of this, Peggy ignored Adam's endless verbal victory and said with a half-smile, I remember you were laughing in a very obscene way at that time. Is it true, as they said, that you had been targeting me since then? I was only 10 years old at that time. No. Adam put away his smile and quickly explained, at that time, I saw that you had turned back from your wrong path and stopped wasting your genius intelligence. The future of mankind might achieve great strides because of you. Thinking that I also have a part in these, I couldn't help but feel happy. You were only 10 years old at that time, and you were cute at best. You know, cute is used to describe children. How could I have a target on you? Who is slandering me? It's too much. Think about it yourself. If I really had a target on you, you were next door to me for 6 or 7 years after you went to college. How could I not contact you? He would never take the blame for this. He is not a pervert. Maybe it's a tactic of playing hard to get. Peggy said playfully, you sent me your book before? Don't you want me to think highly of you? Maybe you want to make me your fan. Besides, do you really think I will believe your wretched smile for the future of mankind? Adam's mouth twitched, speechless. He couldn't say that it was because you recognized our friendship, and the system rewarded me with 6 wisdom points, which made me overjoyed, right? With Peggy's wisdom, it would be meaningless for Adam to say that it was for the future of mankind. The truth cannot be told, alas. This black pot must be taken, haha. Seeing Adam's expression of despair, Peggy laughed even more happily. The wedding party was coming to an end. It was time for the bride's throwing the embroidered ball activity. The bride Linda, holding a bouquet of flowers, looked at the single ladies who had already gathered at the wedding party, glanced at her daughters Peggy and Erica, and secretly memorized their positions. Then she turned around. He raised the bouquet above his head and threw it to where Peggy and Erica were not. It was a Western tradition. Whoever caught the bouquet thrown by the bride would be the next happy bride. Obviously, Linda didn't want her 2 daughters to catch it now and become the next bride, especially the youngest daughter Peggy, who had just come of age. The bouquet was caught by a girl, who immediately jumped and danced with the bouquet, very happy. What about us? Some playful young men began to make a fuss and asked to participate in such activities. Since throwing the bouquet is a blessing for single women, there are naturally ways to bless single men. When Adam understood what kind of blessing they were talking about, his mouth twitched and he secretly decided in his heart that he would never participate in such activities. Just kidding. The groom took off the bride's stockings and threw them to single men. This smell is too strong, especially with the relationship between Adam and Peggy. What if it was thrown into his hand? That would be too embarrassing. Fortunately, this kind of activity that looks a bit color is just a regional activity organized by some crazy men, and it has not been recognized by most people. At least, Adam has also attended several weddings, and has never seen such a tradition. David is also a serious person, and he directly rejected this kind of disgusting bridal chamber activities that are somewhat similar to those Adam had seen in his previous life. After the wedding, David and Linda should have left directly and flew to other places for their honeymoon, but they knew each other before, and they flew around for a long time, which was equivalent to a honeymoon. David is starting a business and obviously has no time to come again. Therefore, after everyone dispersed, only Adam and his 2 pairs of best men and bridesmaids and the newlyweds were left. Everyone gathered together and had a good chat. During this time, Peggy took the initiative to say that she didn't care if Linda had another child in the future, and asked her mother not to worry. Erica also directly stated that she didn't care whether she had a child or not. Anyway, she had no sense of existence back then, so what would it matter if she had a few more brothers and sisters in the future? Linda was ashamed and relieved. In middle age, she can still feel such a strong love. She now loves her husband David to death. How could she refuse David's request to have a beautiful and lovely child like Peggy? However, she had to ask the eldest daughter Peggy for her opinion on having a second child. After all, her life had been dependent on Peggy for the past 18 years. At that moment, Linda had subconsciously forgotten about her real eldest daughter Erica. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 533 The Two-Man's Daily Wedding ends. After Peggy and Erica generously expressed that they had no opinion on whether their mother Linda was pregnant again, the chat scene became more harmonious. Then, it became shorter and more weird. Adam and others were all experienced drivers. Seeing that the newlyweds had no psychological burden, they got closer and closer to each other regardless of the presence of others, and said goodbye very tactfully. The newlyweds were very happy and did not try to keep them. After a few pleasantries, they left first. They were so straightforward. Adam, can I go back with you? Dad rubbed his hands and said, I have been busy for several days. The project team's phone calls are almost blown up. I have to go back quickly. The waiting time and security check on the plane are too long. It's better not to, Adam advised. Your mother has a bad heart. Your father. Your family has a history of heart disease, so you have a high risk of heart disease. It's not a big deal. Just take the plane. He remembered that Dad's mother was heartbroken because of the sudden death of Lawang next door. Although Dad's mother didn't know whose son Dad was, but Adam compared various details based on genetics. Dad's risk of sudden death is many times higher than that of ordinary people. Come on. Dad didn't care. How can it be so exaggerated? I'm in a hurry and I'm curious about how you drove here from New York in just 1.5 hours. You don't want to know. Lisa, who had taken the ride, couldn't help but complain. Anyway, I won't take it again. I've booked a ticket and will fly back. Boss, is that okay? Okay. Adam nodded, but you have to hurry up. I've attended 2 weddings in the past few days. My medical career seems to be greatly affected, so I will go to the hospital immediately after I go back. You come back early to accompany Peggy. I will. Lisa's heart tightened and she promised quickly. She knew the boss's rich style very well. It is very likely that he will hire another assistant to ensure seamless service for Peggy if there is a disagreement. Although her task will be easier in this way, but in contrast, her rights and benefits will be diluted. The risk of unemployment is also multiplied. You know, Peggy spent most of her time studying science, staying at home. Her job was very easy, and her income was so generous that she dared not tell anyone about it, because once she told anyone about it, it would definitely attract countless applicants who were stronger than her. In this case, how could she be willing to take risks? Boss, I've thought about it and decided not to take the plane. I'll go back with you. Actually, driving fast is just not comfortable for the first time, but I'll get used to it later. Lisa said seriously, as you always say, the human body has a strong adaptability. I think I can do it too. Don't force it, Adam advised. No. Lisa held her head high and chest out, very imposing, but in Adam's eyes, there was always a sense of tragedy of going to die generously. Okay. Adam also guessed Lisa's little thoughts and had no intention of stopping her. As a tool, she naturally had to have a sense of crisis in order to better serve the boss. Besides, The side effect of driving fast is at most vomiting after returning. Vomiting. You will get used to it. Adam, what about me? Ted reminded. You come too. Adam saw that Ted was eager to try, and knew that he was actually the same as Barney in his heart, seeking excitement, so he did not stop him. If he really had a heart attack. Adam also saved the effort of going back to find the case. An hour and a half later, New Jersey, downstairs of the faculty and staff apartment of Preston University. Ugh. As soon as Adam parked the car, Ted pushed the door and ran out, hugged a tree on the lawn, and vomited directly on the lawn. Slightly accustomed to it, Lisa, who was happy for only a few seconds, saw this and ran out and vomited. You are too weak. Exercise well. Otherwise I can't take you next time. Remember to find someone to clean up. Adam saw Peggy frowning, reminded her, and pulled Peggy upstairs. Lisa and Ted stood up, looked at each other, and bent over and vomited again. That is, there is no animated emoticon package now. Otherwise, this must be a classic scene of seeing each other nausea. The two vomited for a long time before they stopped. Lisa called someone to deal with it. She was a senior tool, so it was impossible for her to do such dirty work. Where are you going? Lisa shouted immediately when she saw Ted wipe his mouth and prepare to go upstairs. To find Adam. Ted was stunned. We'll go back to New York together later. Go back by yourself. Lisa waved her hand. The boss can't leave in a short time. Huh? Ted was surprised. Didn't he say he was in a hurry to get back to the hospital? Do you really not understand, or are you pretending not to understand? Lisa said contemptuously. Young men and women are together, one is a scientist and the other is a doctor. They are very busy. Don't waste their precious time. This is New Jersey. Just take a taxi back to New York. Sorry. The romantic little prince. Ted blushed. He never thought that one day he would be despised in his professional field. After struggling for a while, he pointed upstairs and smiled at Lisa. Then I'm leaving. Please tell Adam and the others for me. No need. Lisa shook her head. No one will answer the phone or text message at this moment. I dare not disturb you. Besides, do you really think my boss doesn't know you're leaving? Ted's mouth twitched. Why does this scene feel so familiar? Oh, yes. Just now, after Linda learned that her daughter did not object to her and David creating a love child, she was so blatantly showing off her love and smashing the light bulb. Ted, who was taught a lesson, could only go out of the school and take a taxi. Lisa went upstairs and chatted with the female bodyguards on duty for a few words. She put her ear to the door of Peggy's apartment and listened. Her face showed an expression of I am in control of everything. She raised her hand to check the time, returned to her apartment across the street, and set the alarm for 3 hours. Then she took off her clothes and walked into the bathroom, filling the bathtub with hot water and scented bath bubbles. Then she took out a bottle of high-end red wine from the cupboard, opened it and poured half a glass into the goblet. She picked up some snacks and the goblet, walked into the bathroom, tested the water temperature, lay down in it, and sighed comfortably. This was her miserable daily life as a tool. 3 hours later, she went out and ran into Adam, who was leaving. Boss, your friend Ted took a taxi and left by himself, Lisa reminded. Oh. Adam nodded and didn't take it to heart. His mind was now full of hard work to make up for the wasted time studying medicine, just like the state when he hadn't finished his summer homework at the end of summer vacation in his previous life. Who is Ted? He doesn't care at all. Chapter 534. Juno calls the medical center. Emergency room. Dr. Duncan, you're back. As soon as Adam came over, the most understanding nurse came up to him. How was the wedding? You must be very tired after attending 2 weddings in a row. Why don't you take a good rest? Not bad. Adam smiled and said, I'm not tired. Are there any interesting cases today? No. The most understanding nurse smiled and said, Dr. Yang and Dr. Burke performed a congenital heart correction operation, and Dr. Stevenson delivered a baby. Everyone else is as usual, nothing special. Adam listened and nodded. After being away for a day, he needed to understand the situation in the medical center. The most understanding nurse obviously understood him very well, and she picked out what he wanted to know and told him in an orderly manner. Dr. Duncan. At this time, the emergency room door was pushed open, and the emergency personnel saw Adam and called immediately. What's the situation? Adam ran over quickly. When the most understanding nurse saw it, she immediately took the surgical gown, ran over, and put it on Adam neatly. Michael Kinney, 17 years old, suddenly fainted at school. Vital signs are stable. He is a wrestler. The emergency personnel said, "This should be an internal medicine patient. Call the internal medicine doctor." Adam gave a rather regretful order, but still pushed the patient into the clinic first. Call the school, get his medical records, give him an infusion, check his blood sugar, blood routine, electrolytes, and a toxicology test. The probability of a young man who suddenly fainted and took drugs and ended up in the hospital was too high. Low blood pressure, 70/60. Blood pressure is still falling. The nurse who checked the blood pressure quickly reminded, blood sugar is normal. Ventricular contraction. After checking, Adam said in a deep voice, "It looks like a heart problem." "Doctor, extrasystoles." The nurse reminded, blood pressure is still falling rapidly. 60/45. Arrhythmia. Adam ordered, "Prepare for a central venous catheter." The nurse immediately brought the instrument over. Adam started to put a central venous catheter on the patient. This is a way to quickly maintain blood pressure during emergency treatment. The blood test results are out. No calf, but the electrolyte level is a mess. After Adam finished inserting the central venous catheter and maintaining the patient's blood pressure, the nurse came in with the test results. "What's the blood potassium?" Adam asked. 2.0. The nurse replied. 20 milliequivalents of piggyback infusion. Adam ordered. Beep, beep. The monitor sounded an alarm. Heartbeat is too fast, heart rate is 240, and it's still rising rapidly. The nurse reminded. Rapid intravenous injection of 6 milligrams of adenosine. Adam ordered while checking the patient's pupils. No reaction, no contraction. Prepare the defibrillator. Press the synchronization button. His heart rate must be lowered immediately, otherwise he will die. The nurse immediately picked up the defibrillator, prepared it, and handed it to Adam. 100, let go, Adam shouted, pressing the defibrillator to the patient's chest. Weak pulse, the nurse reminded. Turn it to 200, let go. Adam increased the shock energy. Still no pulse. He's dying, the nurse reminded. Give me a pacemaker. I want to increase the heart rate. Adam ordered. Doctor, there's no screen here. Do you want to reach in and do it by feel? The nurse hesitated. I want to look at the screen, but he doesn't have time now. Adam emphasized. Pacemaker. Yes, doctor. The nurse quickly handed the pacemaker to Adam. Adam slowly inserted the pacemaker into the heart through the catheter and ordered. Raise it to 300. Okay, now, slowly lower it, and then slower. The sinus rhythm is normal, the nurse reminded while looking at the screen, with a look of admiration on her face. Ding. Plus 0.01. The system's reminder sounded like a shadow. It's a sudden coronary heart disease. Adam was in a good mood and smiled. You take care of him and notify me when he wakes up. It's rare for him to have a heart disease at the age of 17. The nurse sighed. Thanks to Dr. Duncan, otherwise he would have died. The heart is like the power supply of an electric car. Being young means that it has just been bought and used, as long as it is not a defective product. Congenital heart disease, there will be no problems at the beginning, only after using it for a long time will a series of problems such as power aging appear. Not paying attention to maintenance will also aggravate this process. Adam smiled, got up and left. As long as coronary heart disease is not serious to a certain extent, it only needs to be properly nursed and no surgery is required. Anyway, his lifespan is already at hand. It's not a pity for Adam. Half an hour later, the nurse called Adam and said that the patient woke up. As the doctor who treated him, Adam needed to evaluate his physical condition and then decide whether he could be discharged from the hospital. What are you doing? When Adam came over, Michael, the patient who was almost dead, was already doing high leg raises. I feel much better. I need to do some training. No, you can't do that. You just had a heart attack and almost died. Adam reminded. Almost died in the literal sense. I'm fine. Michael was stunned for a moment and said with his head down, when can I be discharged from the hospital? We have to wait for your parents to come. Adam said, you have anorexia, right? No, I don't. Michael immediately denied it. You are a wrestler, and the weight classification control is very strict. Adam said to himself, if you don't meet the standard, you can't compete, so dieting is a common method, but over time, it is easy to suffer from anorexia. I'm fine. Michael wanted to deny it, but when he met Adam's eyes, he couldn't tell the lie anymore, and just looked at Adam beggingly. I need to be discharged from the hospital. I have a competition next week that affects my future, and I must participate. Sorry. Adam shook his head. With your dieting status, once you participate in a high-intensity competition, you may die directly. You are not an adult yet, and this decision needs to be made by your parents. This Michael is obviously a sports specialty student. Through the competition, he hopes to enter the university through the university's special recruitment. Adam can understand his fluke mentality of participating in the competition regardless of the danger, but this decision is not something that Michael and he can make. From Adam's understanding, wrestlers are really not something that ordinary people can become. Professional wrestlers usually live and train together, and must abide by strict rules. For example, no smoking, no drinking, even no unspeakable things are allowed. Anyway is not allowed. He also has to diet, usually only eating vegetables, fruits and dairy products. He gets beaten every day. It's not that he has no way or really loves it, but he can't stick to it. What Michael said is related to his future. Obviously, it's not love, but no way. He is only talented in wrestling. When Michael's parents came, Adam explained the situation to them and asked them to discuss it carefully before making a decision. He went out with the phone. It was Juno who called. This surprised Adam. It's not strange that Juno called him. In fact, they talked on the phone almost every night, talked about what happened today, and then exchanged cases and discussed medical skills. It's just that because they are all busy and night owls, they usually call before going to bed, that is, in the early hours of the morning. It's obviously still a bit early now, and he usually calls her. This is more convenient. After all, Adam's life is far less regular than Juno. If Juno calls him every time, he will probably encounter many embarrassing things. Although Juno repeatedly said that she didn't mind Adam chatting with her while exercising, but Adam minded. What a beautiful thing. Chapter 535. I treat you as a brother and answer the phone. Juno. Adam, is the wedding over? Juno asked with a smile on the other end of the phone. Are you back to New York? It's over. Adam smiled and said, I came back a long time ago. I just saved a life in the hospital. Congratulations. Juno knew Adam's extreme passion for saving lives and congratulated him immediately. Haha. Adam was in a good mood. Why are you calling at this time? Thanksgiving is next Thursday. Juno smiled. There are only 4 days left, and there will only be 1 day off. I guess you won't go back to Texas? Of course not. Adam shook his head. It's too troublesome to go back, especially for just 1 day off. Guessed it. Juno smiled. I have a suggestion. On Thanksgiving Day, Karen and I will go there, and you invite Peggy and a few friends. How about we celebrate Thanksgiving together? Okay. Adam nodded without hesitation. But I still have to ask Chandler and Monica. I guess everyone else will go back to their own homes. This is the first time that Lily has returned to her hometown with Matthew. It is of great significance. But if Chandler and Monica are invited, Phoebe will probably come too. You know she has no family. I know. Juno interrupted. I've asked for you. Monica and Chandler have agreed. Phoebe hasn't decided yet. She can do whatever she wants. The Thanksgiving dinner and decorations will be left to Monica and Karen. You just need to agree with Peggy first. Adam was stunned. You've already made a happy decision, and you're still asking me if I'm going back to Texas. Why? You want to spend Thanksgiving alone with Peggy? Juno smiled on the other end of the phone, so clingy. Not really? Look at what you said. Adam said quickly. How is that possible? That's good. Juno teased. Otherwise, you'll really forget the old when you have someone new. Tilda. Adam's mouth twitched. Why does Juno seem weird today, and speaks in a sarcastic way? What, are you not convinced? Juno chuckled and said leisurely. Why don't you ask Heather how she arranged it? Ahem. Adam coughed lightly, ashamed, and said embarrassedly, what arrangements did Heather have? Originally, I was going to invite her to go with me. Juno sighed. but she feels sorry for someone and thinks it's not appropriate. Alas, a girl with such a broad mind who only knows how to silently dedicate herself is really the one who suffers the most. He. Adam laughed dryly. I'll call her later and invite her to spend Thanksgiving with me. Is it appropriate? Juno laughed. What about Peggy then? How will you introduce them? Adam's mouth twitched. He was now sure that Juno was mocking him, but when he thought of the scene of Peggy meeting Heather, he really had a headache. Juno seemed to be able to see Adam's expression on the other end of the phone, and laughed. Juno, Adam called out in a bad mood. He expressed serious condemnation for her behavior of watching the fun and not minding the trouble. Now you know you have a headache, Juno laughed. We all know that you like Peggy. When we often get together, you and Heather often talk about Peggy. Heather has no objection to this, but we can't stand it and feel sorry for her. You still talk about Peggy together? Adam smiled bitterly. What do you talk about her? Everything, Juno said playfully, but the most important thing is to talk about what kind of extraordinary charm Peggy has that makes the playboy Adam Duncan like a lovesick virgin. Tut. Don't talk nonsense, Adam said unconvinced. Who is fascinated like a lovesick virgin? Have you ever seen a lovesick virgin who has so many female good friends at the same time? Because they are best friends. Contact every night. Juno often takes the initiative to ask Adam about his daily life. Whether it is Kate who takes the initiative to ask him to help sort out the case overnight, or on Halloween night, the deputy director of Marvel S.H.I.E.L.D. fights the mother of DC Aquaman, or maybe he was later sent by Lily to Robin's house to treat Robin's wounds. She knew everything, but Adam never responded to her desire to know more details. Chatting with buddies is one thing, and bragging is one thing, but revealing those deeper and extreme privacy is another matter. Adam is not a pervert. Peggy is different after all, isn't she? Juno said bluntly. At least Heather and the others can't compare, right? You are getting more and more exaggerated. Adam was speechless. Isn't it? Juno said slowly. How good was your relationship with Heather? When we were in the cabin in the woods, how much you loved Heather, we heard it clearly next door. This is different. Adam's old face flushed. Juno smiled and said, do you dare to say that Peggy's figure is better than Heather's? Of course not. Adam shook his head. Heather is really the best. Her appearance is already good, plus her superb figure. The comprehensive score is still firmly ranked first among Adam's many female friends. Peggy, the ice snow girl who came to the mortal world, can only surpass her in terms of appearance. But when it comes to the combination of all, Peggy is pure. There is no comparison. Here comes the problem, Juno said with a smile. Since it is not the appearance, then it is the inner difference. Otherwise, you and Heather had such a good relationship at the beginning. Why did you just ignore Heather's problems? And when it comes to Peggy, before anything else, she bought a house and hired bodyguards, and hired 6 of them at once, and a personal female assistant. She even accompanied her to the wedding, and the best man and bridesmaid walked the red carpet together. TSK. Have any of your other female friends ever had any of these treatments? Believe me, Heather is definitely much better to you than Peggy. But why is Heather, who has a good figure and treats you well, and came first, completely unable to compare to Peggy's position in your heart? They are all female friends. Why is the gap so big? Why not? Adam said unconvinced. I also said that I would assign new bodyguards, but you said you didn't need them. The other end of the phone, there was no sound for a while. What? Nothing to say? Adam smiled proudly. Juno said leisurely, am I also your good friend? Adam's mouth twitched, because he seemed to have an expression of Juno on the other end of the phone saying I treat you as a brother, but you want to sleep with me. I'm just making an analogy. Adam laughed dryly. Besides, I'm not wrong. Aren't you my best friend? Juno didn't answer, but just smiled, and changed the subject. Don't worry, even if your name is Heather, she won't go. Usually she needs to stay in the manor and has no time to get together with you, let alone on this family reunion holiday. If she really goes to you at this time, her adoptive mother will really go crazy. So, Karen and I will go. Both of us are old acquaintances of Peggy. It won't give you a headache. P.S. Thanks to book friend 1611060524078890 for the reward. Chapter 536 Thanksgiving. Hearing Juno say this, Adam was really relieved. Although he felt that Peggy might not care about Heather's existence, he still tried to avoid being in Sheffield as much as possible. The last Cheng brother who was so confident had already sailed west. Then it's settled. Juno smiled. Yeah, Adam nodded. I'll give the key to Monica, and I'll leave the dinner to you. I want to go to work during the day and save more people. Okay. Juno didn't say anything. Hang up the phone. Adam shook his head. I whipped a famous horse because I was drunk, and I was afraid that my love would tire the beauty. This sentence was just a pretense before. Now it seems that every word is Adam's voice. Alas, he doesn't have the scumbag mentality of Barney and Ted. It's too difficult. 3 days. It passed in a flash. November 25th. Noon. Buffet restaurant. Adam, do you have any plans for tomorrow? If not, come and celebrate Thanksgiving with us. Liz invited. It's just Meredith, George, and Christina. I'm going to cook a big meal. Will you come too? Sorry. Adam shook his head. I've already made an appointment with my friends, and they've started preparing. I told you a long time ago, Christina complained while eating. Thanksgiving will be lively enough with Adam's girlfriends getting together. Why do they need to get together with the likes of us? Besides, we are interns. Why celebrate Thanksgiving? Wouldn't it be nice to do more surgeries with this time? I heard that there are a lot of unlucky people on Thanksgiving every year. Christina. Liz glared. You agreed to come. There are not many of us here anyway. You can't be absent. I said it depends on the situation. Christina shrugged. Maybe there will be a big accident, and we all have to come to work overtime. Meredith. Liz had to ask her roommate for help. Okay, Christina. Meredith said indifferently, you should join tomorrow. We interns are busy every day and have almost no contact with our family and friends. On this special day, if we don't get together, we colleagues will be like robots. That's you. Christina laughed. Look at Adam. He spends as much time in the hospital as you do, right? How come he is so close to his friends? I also contact my family less. Adam waved his hand. Although my friends are around, I contact them less than before. If it weren't for my friends' organization, I would definitely be like you this year. Except for my colleagues, I don't even have anyone to celebrate the holidays with. Not only Thanksgiving, but also Christmas and New Year's Day afterwards. And this situation is expected to continue for several years until I get the attending physician's medical license, and then it will get better. Look, Christina exclaimed, this is what a doctor with aspirations should do. These years are the time when we are learning technology and growing rapidly. What's wrong with not celebrating the holidays? There is no need to be so sentimental. If I could be a surgical robot, I would probably laugh to death. Liz and others were speechless. They knew Christina was not joking. She really meant it. It doesn't matter how many people there are. Adam smiled and said, as roommates, you three are actually the best candidates to celebrate the holiday together. Thanksgiving is not a good day to say the least. It's not as exciting as Christmas and New Year. What do you mean? Liz was stunned. How did Thanksgiving come about? Adam said, thank God for the good harvest and the help of the Indians. But do you know how the Indians helped the Americans, so that the Americans have to celebrate the holiday to express gratitude? Liz was speechless. She is also a highly educated intellectual, so she naturally knows that period of history. In the past, such things were scandals that could not be spoken of. Everyone just took an excuse to have a holiday. Now that Adam mentioned it, they were embarrassed. It seems that everyone knows it. Adam sneered. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Thank the Indians for their scalps and almost extermination? I really don't know if the person who created this holiday is an anti-human pervert. Shouldn't it be called the Day of Atonement? Everyone was silent for a while. Liz didn't want to invite anyone to the festival. Many things seemed beautiful, but once they were torn apart, they were all bloody truths. But the festival had to be celebrated. It wasn't for some bullshit gratitude, but for a reason for friends and family to get together. There was no other way. It was the only day that everyone had off. The next morning, Chandler and Monica came over. Thank you for your help. Adam handed them the key. Juno and Karen will come later, and they will help you then. Don't worry. Monica took the key and said confidently, it's just a Thanksgiving dinner. I can handle it. Karen's cooking skills are not bad. You can exchange ideas. Adam smiled. By the way, will Phoebe come tonight? Come. Monica smiled. Originally, Ross and Rachel wanted to come, but they were dragged over by Dr. Green, who asked Emma to be called Emma Geller Green. Adam teased. Ross is a live-in son-in-law. Of course he has to go to his father-in-law's house to celebrate the holiday. After a few jokes, Adam left. The current busyness is for a better life in the future. Set a small goal first. Within 5 years, before the age of 30, increase life expectancy to 50 years old. After that, there is a 20-year life buffer, as long as the annual increase in life expectancy can offset the consumption, that is, the frequency of saving one person every 3 or 4 days. For a famous attending physician, there is no pressure at all. At that time, Adam no longer had the crisis of dying young, and he could enjoy life. Medical center. Because it was Thanksgiving, there were almost no patients who had appointments, unless the condition could not wait for a day. The patients also wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving. Therefore, except for a small number of necessary doctors who stayed in the hospital, almost all of them went home for the holiday. The whole hospital seemed a little deserted. Adam took a look around the surgery department and went directly to the emergency room. Today's life expectancy growth rate is all in the emergency room, but to Adam's disappointment, the emergency room was almost deserted. What the hell? Adam cursed inwardly. The medical staff who stayed behind gathered together, either decorating the hospital to make it look festive, or laughing and playing together. Someone sang loudly with a microphone at the nurse's station, rapping and singing in chorus. There was even a young nurse wearing roller skates skating in the corridor, and several times she lost control and bumped into Adam. Just as Adam was holding the blushing nurse for the 3rd time, thinking that he might as well go back and spend more time with Juno and Peggy, the emergency room door was pushed open. An elderly policeman walked in with a woman with blood all over her head. Adam's eyes lit up at first, but then he looked closely and recognized the person. His heart tightened and he immediately went to greet her. Chapter 537. This woman is a beast. Medical center. Emergency room. What happened? Adam went to meet her. Doctor, clean this woman up so I can take her to make a statement early. Today is Thanksgiving and I want to go home early to celebrate the holiday. The old policeman complained. Damn it, she made my police car full of blood. Adam, the woman with blood all over her head, looked at Adam aggrievedly. Phoebe. Adam was helpless. How did you get into this state? Doctor, do you know her? The old policeman was surprised. She's my friend. Adam looked at the old policeman. What did she do? She was pecked by a turkey. The old policeman couldn't help laughing when he said this. Pecked by a turkey? Adam's mouth twitched. You shouldn't be surprised. The old policeman complained. Your friend is a lunatic who protects animal rights. I am an activist for the protection of animals, plants and all living things. Phoebe defended. Not a lunatic. Officer, she just has a little too much love. Adam reluctantly explained. She's not a lunatic. At this point, he was a little lacking in confidence. Whatever. The old policeman shrugged and said, a shopping mall decorated for Thanksgiving, with dry corn, straw and people dressed like pilgrims. They also got a big live turkey. They are exploiting and abusing the turkey. Phoebe shouted. These capitalists are so hateful and cruel. Don't get excited. Adam wiped Phoebe's wound and signaled the nurse to get the suture equipment. So your friend was going to steal the turkey? The old policeman laughed. Yes, save it. Phoebe argued. What would you think if you were trapped there and allowed everyone to visit? Then why don't you save the animals in the zoo? The old policeman sneered. Go and release the tigers and lions, and see if you still have the life to come and ask us to save you. It's different, Phoebe retorted. The animals in the zoo are naturally protected by animal protection organizations, but this turkey was exploited and abused alone. It was in such a small cage and didn't even get to drink water. It didn't have time for the animal protection organization to come and protect it, so it was abused to death. You grabbed the turkey and threw it into the car, and tried to run away. The old policeman sneered. That's stealing. Then what? Adam interrupted. Why was she pecked by the turkey again? When she was running away, the turkey went up and grabbed and pecked her. The old policeman laughed. Then comes the funniest part. Guess what your friend did? Speaking of this, the old policeman couldn't help but laugh 3 times. Ha ha ha. She said she wanted to save the turkey, but she just twisted the turkey's neck. Ha ha ha. Adam's mouth twitched, and he looked at Phoebe speechlessly. This is really Phoebe. At this time, the old policeman's partner, a young policeman, came over with a big white turkey upside down. Look, the result is like this. You have a Thanksgiving dinner. The old policeman pointed at the turkey and laughed. Oh, God. Phoebe lowered her head in shame, unable to bear to look. Officer, you'd better take it out, Adam reminded. No matter how weird Phoebe is, she is still his friend, and he still needs to help her if he can. Hey, is this a Narragansett turkey? It's really big. At this time, a doctor passing by saw it and came over. It's just right to give us, the medical staff who stayed behind, a snack. The cafeteria won't handle it at this time, the nurse reminded. It's okay. The doctor took the turkey and said with a smile, I used to pluck chickens when I was a kid. Now that I've studied medicine, my plucking skills are even better. Leave it to me. This turkey is really good. Then he took the turkey and left. Officer, while Adam was suturing Phoebe, he said to the two officers waiting there, today is Thanksgiving. Why don't you go back early? It's not too late to take notes tomorrow. It's not a big deal. Don't let it affect everyone's holiday mood. That won't work. The old policeman shook his head. Official business. Your friend stole in public. This behavior is too bad. Ow. The young policeman looked at Phoebe and pulled his partner. How about we take notes tomorrow? There's no rush today. The old policeman looked at his new partner. He knew that the other party had a crush on I. And it was indeed not a big deal, so he was happy to do a favor. Okay, leave your phone number and come back tomorrow to take notes after the holiday. After saying that, he motioned for the young policeman to come forward and ask for his phone number. The young policeman was a little embarrassed. He took out a pen and paper from his pocket and handed it to Phoebe. My name is Jean. Phoebe. Phoebe was also an old driver. There was nothing she didn't understand. Seeing the young policeman wearing this police uniform, he was a little handsome, shy, and a little cute. She immediately signed her phone number with a smile on her face. Officer, you have to remind me when the time comes, otherwise I'm afraid I will forget. Adam, be gentle. Don't move. Adam complained. I'm stitching you up. How can it not hurt if you smile like this and move your face? Let's go, the old policeman said to his partner who was flirting with Phoebe and left. This Jean is pretty good, right? Phoebe looked at the back of the young policeman leaving and smiled. What? Adam teased. Did you forget your turkey so quickly? Phoebe didn't want to talk anymore. If you ask me, you should find a boyfriend, fall in love, get married, have kids, and put your excess love on your kids. Adam sighed. Don't do this kind of thing all the time. Just like last Christmas, you stopped those withered old Christmas trees from being disposed of. What's the point except that Joey lost his part-time job selling Christmas trees? Don't keep thinking about it. I quit, Phoebe said frustratedly. I can't do it anymore. Why? Adam asked in surprise. Although he tried to persuade her, he didn't have much hope. In his eyes, Phoebe's sudden change was not a good thing. This was because she was too shocked and couldn't bear it. Let me tell you the truth. Phoebe raised her head and said in a dilemma, when I was pecked by the turkey, my most primitive stress instinct of fighting or fleeing appeared. At that time, I turned into a beast uncontrollably. When I grabbed its neck and heard a snap, here, Phoebe lowered her head in shame, I seemed to enjoy it very much. Don't worry. This is a normal reaction. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Adam twitched the corners of his mouth and suppressed a laugh. You paid so much to protect it, but it repaid you with evil by pecking you like this. If it leaves a few scars on your face in the future, it would be too guilty. You are feeling the pleasure of revenge, which is completely normal. It will leave scars? Phoebe screamed immediately. Damn turkey. I'm going to skin it alive. Adam. Chapter 538. 1,000 Ways to Die. Medical Center. Stop screaming. Adam interrupted Phoebe, who had turned into a beast in an instant. I'll sew you up, and there won't be any scars. Really? Phoebe said in surprise. Yeah. Adam nodded. Okay then. Phoebe instantly returned to normal. This is the true American mentality. When all material needs are met, they are still willing to pay attention to spiritual things in a gentlemanly way. For example, last year's Christmas tree, which withered this year, can only be sent to the grinder to be shredded. Phoebe paid close attention to this poor old Christmas tree. She felt that it was too cruel to compare it with the green new Christmas tree next to it. The green Christmas tree next to it, which had been cut down and sold, was still alive. Another example is this turkey. Eating turkey on Thanksgiving night is an American tradition. Tens of millions of turkeys are eaten every night. But Phoebe only paid attention to this one. It is indeed a spiritual pursuit, mysterious. But when their interests are really damaged, it is not surprising that they change their faces in an instant. After I sew you up, don't run around. Come to my house and help Monica prepare Thanksgiving dinner, Adam advised. Isn't that turkey going to be a snack in your hospital? Phoebe didn't agree directly. Can I stay and eat some? Adam was speechless. Do you really want to? Yes, Phoebe insisted. You also said that this is revenge. Okay. Adam was helpless. But you don't have to stay here. Go first, and I will bring you some turkey meat when I go back tonight. Bring more, Phoebe reminded. I will only eat its meat tonight. Adam's mouth twitched. He used to be a good vegetarian, but since he was obsessed with the venison hunted by Adam many years ago, look at what he has become now. He always wants to eat meat to vent his anger. TSK. Adam sent away the not-so-normal Phoebe, and told the nurses to leave him some more turkey meat to pack, ready to take it back to avenge Phoebe in the evening. Then, amid the cheers of the nurses, he called to order a whole Thanksgiving meal to be delivered to the hospital on time to give extra meals to the medical staff who stayed at night. Although it was nothing for Adam to take more of the free turkey meat, but with his status, he would naturally not take advantage of it. This is also to prevent others from talking nonsense. Because human nature is complicated, no matter how high your prestige is, how can you have good interpersonal relationships? In such a large hospital, there are always a few people who don't like you or even hate you. Adam only needs a phone call to cut off the lack of confidence between the supporters who understand the little nurses and the talkers. Why not do it? Tonight, the Old Friend Bar also launched a series of activities such as 50% off for all drinks for those hospital colleagues who have no time to go home and can only get drunk alone after get off work. You know, the drinks at the Old Friend Bar are much lower than those at other bars. This way, it is guaranteed to warm the hearts of these lonely colleagues on this cold night, so that they can recognize the Old Friend Bar in one fell swoop and feel the kindness of their colleague Adam. Because these preferential activities are only for medical staff, there is no harm without comparison. On the contrary, without comparison, there is no superiority. Dr. Duncan. After waiting for a while, someone finally came to the emergency room. What's the situation? Adam ran over immediately, as fast as the wind. Mark Vogel, 32 years old, abdominal pain, fever, headache, nausea, sweating, cramps, suspected acute appendicitis. The emergency personnel said, "It's not acute appendicitis." Adam pushed the trolley to the treatment room while checking the patient's condition. He immediately ruled out acute appendicitis and looked at the patient lying there with sweat all over his face. He asked, "Were you bitten by something? Poisoned?" The nurse who followed him immediately said, "Do you want to do a toxicology test?" Yes. Adam nodded. What made him helpless was that the patient only smiled mysteriously when he heard Adam's question, and did not answer. The nurse drew blood quickly and ran to the toxicology laboratory for testing. Blood pressure 180/120. The nurse reminded. Intravenous injection of sodium nitroprusside, 50 milligrams. Adam ordered. The patient screamed and convulsed all over. Inject tranquilizer. Adam ordered. Then, various symptoms appeared one by one, and Adam had to treat them one by one. When the toxicology test results came out, as expected, the patient was poisoned. Inject him with antivenom serum immediately, Adam ordered. It was busy for a while. When he heard the system plus 0.01 prompt sounded, Adam breathed a sigh of relief and was extremely happy. It was not a waste of time to come here today. Be careful. Just as the nurse turned the patient over, Adam's eyes shrank, and bullet time automatically started. He picked up the syringe beside him and poked the spider that crawled out of the patient's clothes and crawled on the back of the nurse's hand like lightning. The nurse took a look and stepped back in fear. No, Mark, the patient who woke up, happened to see this scene. Seeing Adam holding a syringe and poking the spider hanging in the air, he immediately screamed in pain. Damn it. When Adam saw this situation, he knew that this was probably another guy who liked to keep strange pets. You killed her, you killed her. Patient Mark struggled to get up, and with a ferocious face, he wanted to pounce on Adam. Calm down, Mr. Vogel, this is a Black Widow. Adam held the patient with one hand, signaled the nurse to use the restraint belt to tie the patient's hands and feet, and comforted him. It's painful. I think you were bitten by it, right? It wanted to bite the nurse just now, and I was helpless. You killed my Elvira. I want to kill you. Patient Mark struggled even harder. Inject tranquilizer. Adam frowned. Yes, doctor. The nurse moved quickly, and under the effect of the drug, patient Mark calmed down instantly. Thank you, Dr. Duncan. The nurse who was almost bitten thanked him with lingering fear. You're welcome. Adam put the dead Black Widow in the box, and then personally checked the patient Mark's body to make sure there was no other poison on him. Then, he saw that there were many bite marks on the other party, most of which looked like snake bites. Hiss. The nurses on the side gasped. When the patient Mark woke up again, he calmed down when he saw the nurse's cautious precautions, as if she was ready to give him another sedative at any time. Give me my Elvira. The nurse handed him the box containing the Black Widow. The patient Mark took the box and cried sadly at the motionless Black Widow inside. During this time, the nurse also understood the cause and effect from his sobbing words to the Black Widow, and immediately ran over to tell Adam. Adam was speechless after hearing this. Patient Mark is a seller of rare pets. He keeps foreign snakes, lizards and insects at home and sells them on the black market for a living. These dangerous creatures are his beloved lifelong companions. His most obsessed pet is the smallest one, the Black Widow venomous spider, and he specially named her Elvira. Today is Thanksgiving. He is alone, so he naturally wants to reunite with his family for the holiday. So, he hopes to get closer to his little mistress on this good day. People who play with snakes are often bitten by snakes, so they have some immunity to snake toxins. Mark thinks the Black Widow is the same. As long as he gets bit by the Black Widow and gets through it, he can get closer to his mistress in the future. Adam didn't know what to say when he heard this. How can the other party get close to him after taking such a big risk? Anyway, Adam couldn't think of it, and didn't dare to think of it. So, Mark put his hand into the Black Widow's nest and let it bite hard. At first, Mark wanted to get through it by himself, but as time went by, the severe pain in his body made him vaguely feel that he couldn't bear it anymore, so he staggered out of the door and prepared to go to the hospital. At this time, he still just wanted Adam to give him pain relief, and then get through it himself, so that his body could produce antibodies to the Black Widow toxin, and he could get close to his Elvira in the future. Magical country, magical people. Adam was convinced. Chapter 539 Miracle meets Miracle Medical Center again. Why are you here? I heard someone wants to kill you? Just another impulsive weirdo. He'll be fine after he calms down. Adam smiled at Christina, who was supposed to rest. Dr. Burke didn't come today. Didn't he go to see you? That's what he said. But Adam has already informed the old policeman and put this guy who likes Black Widow on the watch list. The tense doctor-patient relationship is a problem all over the world. Not to mention the United States, where every day is happy. How could Adam, who is so steady, ignore the fact that he can impulsively say he wants to kill someone? Yes, the other party can't do anything to him, but if he hurts any of his friends, that is something Adam can never accept. Stop talking. Christina rolled her eyes and said, he's like something that sticks to you all the time and you can't get rid of him. He's at Meredith's house right now, teaching Liz how to make a turkey dinner by teaching her how to do surgery. Simple. Adam teased, as long as you say this to Dr. Burke, I promise he won't stick to you anymore. But are you willing to do it? As a top surgeon, Dr. Burke's inner pride is needless to say, even if he likes Christina. Once she says this, breaking up is inevitable. I'll go see if there's any surgery to do. Christina didn't respond and changed the subject, saying, I told them I was out to buy wine. Can you imagine that the alcoholic Meredith doesn't even have a bottle of wine at home? She obviously couldn't bear to do it. In terms of career, Dr. Burke is the authoritative expert type that she is most fascinated with. In life, he is a homely type. He makes breakfast and coffee in the morning and dinner in the evening. The key is that his family runs a restaurant, and he likes to study cooking by doing surgery, so the food he makes is delicious. In the case of the drug poisoning at the medical center, Christina had lined up for the examination, but Dr. Burke told her not to go because he had never had an intimate relationship with anyone except her. He was very self-disciplined in his daily life between the hospital and home. The key is that he was always very proactive. For the passive Christina, even if she said she disliked such a boyfriend, she must care about him very much in her heart, so how could she bear to let him go? "You are joking again," Adam laughed. "Does an alcoholic have to keep alcohol at home? Who does she drink with?" "Liz or George? It's not as good as going to the bar to get drunk, taking a man home to have fun by chance, driving him away early the next morning, and going to work refreshed." She is not only an alcoholic, but also an old driver. That's what an alcoholic old driver is like. "Go and tell Meredith about this, and see if she doesn't fight you," Christina said, and walked towards the surgical operating room. She really couldn't stand the scene of her boyfriend trying to fit into her circle of friends and easily conquering all of her friends. It was like her private space was completely occupied by the other person. For her pursuit of becoming God, it was very uncomfortable. That's why she took the opportunity to buy wine and ran to the hospital to find a chance to do a few operations to calm down. "Adam." Meredith hurried over at the corner, and when she saw Adam, her eyes lit up. "Why are you here too?" Adam was surprised. "Aren't you the one who supports Liz the most?" "I do support her, but I can't help her. It's enough to have George to help her," Meredith explained embarrassedly, and then turned to the main topic. "Come and help me." A permanent vegetative person from 16 years ago suddenly opened his eyes and looked at me. "Don't get excited. It's normal for some physiological reflexes to still be there," Adam said as he followed her to see. "What's the patient's condition?" Dr. Shept and other attending doctors have basically gone back. Besides, even if he was still there, Meredith would not go to him if she could. "The patient's name is Holden McKee, a firefighter. He was hit by a falling debris while on duty and became a permanent vegetable. He has been in a nursing home," Meredith said quickly. "Today, when the nurse turned him over, she accidentally made him fall off the bed. The insurance company thinks he needs to be checked. There is damage to the skull and skin, and hematoma. I was going to rinse and check the wound, repair the damage, and then take a CT scan to rule out intracerebral hemorrhage, abrasions or edema, but he opened his eyes and looked at me directly." As they were talking, they had already arrived at the ward. Adam noticed that the patient did keep his eyes open. After a careful examination, he did find that the patient's eyes would move from time to time, and they were tracking Meredith's voice. "He is indeed looking at you. Go get an MRI." Adam smiled and said, "Maybe you are his angel today, leading a vegetative person to create a miracle and wake up again." This is simply a plot in a melodramatic idle drama. When Meredith heard this, his self-pitying aura immediately subsided a lot, and his eyes looking at the patient were full of expectations. "MRI room. I think we need to find Dr. Shept." Adam looked at the MRI film and said, "His brain has not atrophied and he has a minimum level of consciousness. He is not a vegetative state at all." "What?" Meredith was shocked. "He is not a vegetative state, but he has been lying in the sanatorium for 16 years? Didn't the medical staff find it? Is it strange?" Adam glanced at her. "Not everyone can live in Dr. Gray's sanatorium. He is just a firefighter. The medical insurance he bought is popular. The sanatorium he lives in cannot be very good, otherwise there would not be an accident where he would fall off the bed when he turned over. No one cares about him." Meredith felt the same and murmured, "He has been lying there for 16 years. There is nothing we can do," Adam reminded. "His brain has slowly recovered over the years." "Even so, if we hadn't observed him patiently for a while, we would have only regarded him as a residual physiological reflex. It is conceivable that 16 years ago, when he couldn't even open his eyes, a CT scan showed that he had become a vegetative state. Any doctor would have judged that he was a vegetative state." "What should we do now?" Meredith asked. "Call Dr. Shept, of course." Adam smiled and said, "With his current condition, we can use drugs to wake him up, Really? That's great. Meredith forgot the awkwardness between her and Dr. Shept for a moment, and cheered for the patient to wake up. Don't be so happy so early, Adam reminded. Being able to wake up is not necessarily a good thing for him. 16 years is enough to change everything. He may not be able to accept it. If Yango jumps to the bottom of the cliff 16 years later and finds not Zhao Longnu alone, but Zhao Longnu and Xin Zibing with Zhao Longnu, the family of 3 living happily there, then Yango would probably want to fall to his death when he jumps off the cliff. Of course, maybe Zhao Longnu and Zhen Zibing felt guilty and discovered Yango's arrival in advance, hid, and let Zhao Longnu come forward to fool Yango away, achieving a happy ending of the Condor Heroes. For specific operations, refer to Yang Buui. She is familiar with this. Once she saw Yango, she was ruined for life. Little Dragon Girl is naturally willing, otherwise, Zilongnu is older than Yango. 16 years have passed. Yango is already a middle-aged man, but she is still as young as 28. It is too fantastic. Moreover, the life of Zilongnu's prototype is not perfect in the eyes of the author. After all, she did not accept the author's love. Thinking about it this way, and then bringing in the author's coquettish behavior of Yang Buui, and the connection between the reality that Yunzong in the author's book is a rapist and the novel, it is really easy to arouse imagination. I just don't know if this patient will also encounter such a dog blood thing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 540. Adam is jealous of Karen. Medical Center. Just as Meredith was contacting Dr. Shept, pagers started ringing. Adam opened it and immediately ran to the emergency room. On the TV screen at the nurse's station, a car accident was being reported. At the south exit of the highway, 28 cars and 3 trucks collided in a chain reaction. According to the report sent back from the scene, the accident was caused by a car that suddenly turned around and hit the surrounding vehicles. At present, at least 41 people were injured and many people were trapped. Start work. Susan Lewis from the emergency room also came over at this time and clapped her hands to remind him, "Start the disaster emergency plan." The nurses immediately started to move according to the emergency plan they had practiced. Wheelchairs, trolleys, infusions, surgical gowns, commonly used medicines, surgical instruments, etc. were all taken out of the warehouse and piled together to reduce the time it takes to get them when the patient arrives. Adam and other doctors also put on surgical gowns and walked to the door of the emergency room to wait. There really is an accident, and it's a big accident. That's great. Christina also ran out in surgical gowns, gathered next to Adam, lowered her voice, and said excitedly, "Be careful." Adam reminded, "This is a humanitarian disaster. Can you not be so excited? What's wrong? Don't tell me you're not excited." Christina looked at him sideways. "This is not the same thing." Adam did not comment. The TV station has already reported this major accident. At that time, there will definitely be reporters following the injured to film the hospital's treatment. If your excited expression is filmed, then congratulations, you will definitely surpass this accident and become the absolute protagonist. At that time, you can wait for social death. Yes, if there are family members with a bad temper among the patients, you don't have to wait for social death. You will die directly. Is it that exaggerated? Christina said this, but there was no smile on her face. She knew what Adam said was right. With the media's nature of watching the excitement and not minding the big things, if she was really filmed smiling, she would really become famous all over the world overnight. She did want to be famous, but that was to become famous as the best cardiothoracic surgeon, not like that. Green means minor injuries, yellow means serious injuries, red means critical injuries, and black means death. The head nurse reminded the new nurses not to forget the classification standards. Duncan, you are responsible for the red patients. Yang, you are responsible for the green patients. I will be responsible for the yellow patients. Susan Lewis ordered. The attending doctors and other residents are rushing to the hospital. Before they arrive, We must stabilize the situation. Do you understand? I understand. I understand. Adam was excited after the two promises, while Christina was deeply disappointed. She didn't want to deal with the green minor injuries. Adam smiled at Susan. Susan tilted her head and didn't look at Adam. Adam smiled bitterly in his heart. It seems that Adam's indifference really hurt Susan's sister last time. Now he looks like a business-like person. But Adam is still grateful. His favorite is the red critically ill patients. Saving one of these patients is almost plus 0.01 life expectancy. Susan obviously still remembered Adam's preference, and didn't target Adam because of their estranged relationship and prevent Adam from getting what he wanted. Of course, this was also because she knew that her medical skills were far inferior to Adam's. But no matter what, Adam still recognized this favor. After all, in this world, there are many people who believe in if I don't live well, you won't live well either, and harming others and not benefiting yourself. The ambulance drove quickly. 25 years old. The truck overturned, no seat belt, and lost heartbeat. On the spot, an emergency worker sat astride the stretcher and kept doing cardiopulmonary resuscitation on the injured. Okay, leave it to me. Adam immediately stepped forward to take over. After resuscitating the patient, he rushed to the next one. Second to third degree burns, 25% of the body surface burned, low blood pressure, coma, T4 spine, a step deformity, and loose muscles in both legs. Dirk Jones, 25 years old, was run over by a van, and the lower left limb was amputated. He has lost several liters of blood. As critically ill patients were sent in one after another, Adam stabilized their conditions first and then sent them to various departments. Juno, Karen, why are you here? Just as he was busy, Adam suddenly saw Juno and Karen walking in with the emergency personnel, and his heart tightened. You also encountered a car accident, are you okay? We are fine. Juno shook her head. Do you need our help? You don't have the medical qualifications of the medical center. Adam looked at the chaotic emergency room. Many patients with minor injuries could not get timely treatment. The crying of children was also one after another. After thinking for a while, he said, "Follow me." He found Susan and quickly introduced, Dr. Lewis, this is my friend Juno, a graduate of Harvard Medical School, and now she is an intern at Massachusetts General Hospital. Can she participate in the treatment? Yes. Susan glanced at Juno. You can help with the patients marked in green. Okay, Juno said without hesitation. Karen directly picked up the surgical gown from the corridor, put it on Juno neatly, and then accompanied Juno to deal with the patients. This busy time soon fell into the night. More doctors came, and the patients were properly treated one by one. The tense atmosphere immediately relaxed. That's Dr. Duncan's friend. So cool. Yeah, she's much cooler than Dr. Yang. She's worthy of being Dr. Duncan's friend. She's a top student at Harvard Medical School, and her internship is at Massachusetts General Hospital. How can she not be cool? What do you think is her relationship with Dr. Duncan? Why do they seem to have such a tacit understanding? She's either his girlfriend or his romantic partner. Didn't you see how affectionate she was when she looked at Dr. Duncan? It shouldn't be. Didn't you see that the girl following her looked at her with something wrong? They should be a couple. That girl seems to be a nurse too, and she looks very professional. After the busy schedule, gossip started flying all over again. The cooperation between Juno and Karen instantly relieved Christina's pressure, but it also aroused Christina's competitive spirit. So, without any words, Christina started a secret competition with Juno to see who could handle the patient's condition better and faster. But to Christina's dismay, she seemed to have encountered the same feeling as when she faced Adam again. She was directly crushed. You know, a few months ago, she and Juno were classmates. At that time, Juno didn't seem to be so good. Could it be that the teaching level of Massachusetts General Hospital was so much higher than that of the medical center? Did she come here by mistake following Meredith? Then, she denied this idea by herself. It must be because of Karen, Christina said inwardly. With such a nurse who can know how to move at a glance, the efficiency will definitely increase many times. She was not the only one who was jealous. Coming out of the operating room, Adam watched Juno and Karen's cooperation from a distance for a while, and he was also envious. Too tacit, Too smooth. If only he could have such a nurse. Chapter 541. The hatchet-cutting thoughts enter the night. Medical center. Why haven't you come yet? Monica called for the third time, full of complaints. I'll be back soon. Adam apologized. You know, we can't leave the hospital. Since the high-speed pile-up, there are more and more patients. Hurry up. Monica lowered her frantic voice. Chandler and I are almost embarrassed to face Peggy and Karen. Where's Phoebe? Adam asked in surprise. Do you think she can help? Monica complained. It's good enough if she doesn't make things worse. Haha. Adam smiled knowingly. After the car crash, Juno asked Karen to go to Adam's apartment first to help Monica prepare Thanksgiving dinner. As for Karen, except Juno, no one can handle it. After nightfall, Peggy, who came under the escort of bodyguards, was also an ice girl. Phoebe was willing to liven up the atmosphere, but she herself was a bit neurotic, talking incoherently, and her focus jumped around. Apart from making Monica roll her eyes, it did not change Peggy and Karen at all. One was busy in the kitchen quietly. The other went straight into Adam's study and closed the door. Finally, Phoebe spread her hands habitually, saying that she was done with it. Whatever happened, she would not serve him anymore. She lay on the sofa, holding her phone and chatting with the young policeman named Jean. Lisa, the assistant who could help, had another day off today. After all, it was Thanksgiving. If she didn't take another day off, it would be unreasonable. You can imagine how awkward it was for Monica and Chandler to stand aside and watch this scene. Monica rubbed her hands, Chandler smiled bitterly, and looked at each other. Stop laughing, come here quickly, Monica shouted. Well, I'll let Juno go back first. Adam pondered. Okay, Monica said happily. That's fine. She and Juno had met several times, and she had a very good impression of Juno. Hang up the phone. Juno, you go back first, Adam said to Juno, who had already walked around the medical center. It's getting late. Juno raised her hand to check the time. Let's go back together. It doesn't matter if we save lives. Okay. Adam also raised his hand to check the time. It's already 8 o'clock in the evening. If there is another major operation, it will be early in the morning. We have agreed to spend Thanksgiving together, and it would be unreasonable for me not to be there. And today has been a lot of unexpected gains. I earned half a month's profit in one day. Enough. After packing up, I walked out of the hospital building. Adam drove and took Juno back to the apartment. Hey, you're back too. Monica was very surprised when she saw Adam. You said it. I think we should come back quickly. Adam joked. Don't be ridiculous. But Monica didn't buy it. If my words were useful, I wouldn't have to make 3 calls in a row. It must be Juno who asked you to come back, right? As she said that, she hugged Juno. Hi, Juno. Long time no see. Hi, Monica. Juno hugged Monica and said hello to Chandler, who was standing there with a smile. Hi, Chandler. I'll go call Peggy out. Adam walked towards the study and said with a smile, everyone is here. Let's get ready to eat. Hi, Peggy. Juno looked at Peggy with a smile. Peggy nodded to her, with a slightly cold attitude. Juno didn't mind at all, and asked everyone to take a seat. In a few words, everyone felt like spring breeze. Even Peggy looked at her in surprise and spoke to her for a few words. A long table was already filled with various delicacies, and the big plate of turkey in the middle was even more eye-catching. Let's not talk about the taste, but it was full and shiny. Adam and Juno sat at both ends of the narrow side. Peggy sat next to Adam. Karen and Phoebe sat on Juno's left and right. Monica and Chandler sat opposite each other in the middle. Phoebe was already biting into the turkey that Adam had packed. It looked like she loved it too. The deeper the love, the deeper the hatred. Because Adam was the hub of communication for everyone, he also talked to everyone one by one, chatting about the interesting things in life in the past period of time. But soon, Juno naturally replaced Adam and became the focus of the party. Monica, Phoebe and others actively communicated with Juno about life and feelings. Chandler seemed to have gone from a greasy married man with weak legs to the young state of mocking the little prince. He was in a very good mental state and could tell jokes that could be sold in magazines. Karen looked happy and admiring. Of course, she looked at Peggy, who was no longer so cold under Juno's guidance, with a hint of vigilance from time to time, and stared at Adam. Adam was puzzled, but he was too lazy to think too much. Anyway, Juno was in control. He just needed to enjoy the food, participate in the topic from time to time, and laugh at himself in the face of Juno's revelations and ridicule, and Monica and others' laughter. Very relaxed. He even had the feeling that even if he invited Heather, Max, Carolyn, Kate, Robin and other good friends, as long as Juno was willing to help, the atmosphere would probably be so good. This thought was instantly chopped off by the hatchet. Adam was still very self-aware. After 3 rounds of drinks, ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. "Lily?" Adam answered. Everyone looked over. "Adam." Lily's panicked voice came from the other end of the phone. "What's wrong?" Adam asked with concern. "Didn't you and Matthew go back to his hometown for Thanksgiving?" "I ran away alone," Lily said in tears on the other end of the phone. 15 pounds. "Adam, it's terrible." After a while, Adam finally heard the whole story. Lily went back with Matthew to celebrate Thanksgiving. The daughters-in-law of the Erickson family, led by Matthew's mother, prepared a Thanksgiving dinner. When they talked about having children, the turkey was just roasted and served. Matthew's mother pointed at the huge turkey and said casually, "When I was pregnant with Matthew's brother, the 15-pound fat boy was a little bigger than this turkey." You know, turkeys are originally very large. The Erickson family are all big, so they bought the king of turkeys. When Lily saw the exaggerated turkey in front of her and heard that the Erickson child she was pregnant with was bigger than this, she drove away crying. Because her menstruation was late, she was nauseous again and again. When she called Adam, she was buying a pregnancy test stick at the convenience store. When she thought about such an exaggerated thing stuffed in her little belly, she was about to collapse. "Don't worry," Adam comforted her with a smile and tears. "The children of the Erickson family are a little big, but you will be fine." Not long ago, our hospital delivered quintuplets. 15 pounds, almost twins. Well, triplets. Not as exaggerated as you think. "Are the quintuplets and mother safe?" Lily felt better on the other end of the phone. Adam was speechless for a moment. He secretly regretted why he gave an example. One of the quintuplets died, and the others had problems. The mother was directly depressed. Woo-wah-woo. Lily was very sensitive now. She didn't even need Adam to answer. She just cried out loud. Chapter 542 Schrodinger's Panic. Adam's apartment. "I'll tell her." Juno smiled. Adam stood up helplessly and handed the phone to Juno. "Lily, don't worry," Juno comforted. "It's not certain whether you are really pregnant. And even if you are pregnant, the size and weight of the child you and Matthew have and the child Matthew's parents have are completely different. And don't you love Matthew? Love, right? Since you love, you will always have your own love fruit, right? You are engaged and are about to get married. Even if you have a child now, it's not a terrible thing, right? Okay, calm down first and adjust your breathing." On the other end of the phone, Lily quickly calmed down under Juno's comfort. "I bought it, hang up first," Lily said embarrassedly and hung up the phone. Although the pregnancy test process can be completed with one hand, it can't be broadcast live on the phone. "Does this scene look familiar?" Juno smiled and looked at Adam. What do you mean?" Seeing that other people looked strange and looked at him with scrutiny, Adam's mouth twitched. "I'm talking about Sheldon's brother, George." Juno looked at Adam with a smile. Haha. Adam's mouth twitched. "If you're talking about George, just talk about George. Why are you looking at me and breathing heavily? It's as if I did something," Chandler said humorously. "It's normal, huh?" Monica looked at him immediately. "You're very experienced." "You're not?" Chandler was so high-spirited by Juno that he forgot himself and looked over in surprise. When he met his wife's dangerous size, he realized it. Don't look at how beautiful Monica is now, let alone this Schrodinger's panic when the period is delayed. She doesn't even have a boyfriend. Even the first kiss, she thought she gave it to him during a romantic midnight. "George?" Peggy rarely spoke up. "When we first went to Sheldon's house, he and Erica secretly made love." "You are really precocious." Monica was a little sour. "Erica still told you this?" Adam looked at Peggy in surprise. "Yeah," Peggy nodded. "I was more interested in these things at that time, and Erica was willing to tell me this." Little George almost thought he was going to be a father at that time. Adam laughed and said, He was so scared. The 10-minute pregnancy test time was the longest 10 minutes in his life. After that, even if the pregnancy test result showed that she was not pregnant, he and his girlfriend had no interest at all. They didn't even dare to hug. They were still scared. Speaking of this, Adam and Chandler looked at each other, both showing empathy. This life is better, because I know that the world of American dramas is very chaotic, except for some special circumstances. Adam's protection measures are very good. This empathy is more of a memory of the previous life. Adam's reaction at that time was almost exactly the same as that of little George. Panic and torment. When the alarm was lifted, the sense of relief was beyond words. Of course, Adam was different from the cool little George in his previous life. After the alarm was lifted, he did not vent his happiness so wantonly when faced with his girlfriend's life-threatening question. He did not say foolishly like little George, "I'm scared to death. I'm afraid I have to marry you. My legs are shaking with fear." He just said like most men, "It's nothing. Even if I'm pregnant, I can just get married and raise the baby." It wasn't panic before. Absolutely not. Men who know the answer are so confident and calm. It's not a scumbag either, because I found out later that my girlfriend knew there was no danger from the beginning. It was just a test she made based on the advanced experience she learned from her roommate. They are the same. It's just an instinctive reaction forced out. Of course, if the girl suddenly changes the subject again and again, that's great. "I was just teasing you just now. In fact, I'm really pregnant." Well, if you really meet such a girl, you'd better give in. Otherwise, you may encounter unexpected events. Still scared? No interest? Really? Juno smiled. How long did this state last? Adam and Chandler were speechless. Men, except for Peggy. The other women all spoke with contempt. That's not the point. Adam smiled awkwardly and changed the subject. "I'll call Lily." 10 minutes have passed and the pregnancy test results should be out. Just as they despised, the state of lingering fear did not last long. Jushiran said, "The biggest lesson learned by mankind is that they will never learn lessons, even if they are afraid of whether Schrodinger's period will come." They even unanimously express that they should be pure and keep a safe distance from each other. But this state is not even as long as the sage state can last. The phone is connected. "Lily, are the results out?" Adam asked. "This is the police station. Miss Aldrin has been arrested." A man's voice came from the other end of the phone. "What crime?" Adam was puzzled. "Urinating in public," the police said. Adam's mouth twitched. "Can you give the phone to Lily so I can talk to her? She is the future daughter-in-law of the Erickson family. You should know the Erickson family, right?" Lily drove out to buy a pregnancy test stick, and she didn't go far, just nearby. In the small-town model of the United States, the police know more or less about the situation of each family, especially for a family like Matthew's family, which is full of big men and has Matthew, a future lawyer. They should be very famous. The future daughter-in-law of the Erickson family? The police immediately recognized her name when they heard it. "Is she Matthew's fiancée?" "Yes." Adam nodded. "Haha." The police smiled and gave the phone to Lily. "Matthew will come to pick you up later. By the way, my name is Mike, and I am Matthew's classmate." "Hi, Mike. My name is Lily." Lily took the phone awkwardly. "Peeing anywhere, huh?" Adam held back his laughter. "I didn't want to either." Lily was very embarrassed and annoyed. "There is no toilet in the convenience store. The waiter asked me to find a place." "Damn it, it's all Matthew's fault. He made me degenerate like Barney." Barney also urinated anywhere, and he was caught on the wall of the church. The judge sentenced him to volunteer. At this moment, he is still doing volunteer work to atone for his sins. What was the result? Adam returned to the topic. "I don't know," Lily said worriedly. "I just got up and was caught by Mike. I didn't have time to check the pregnancy test stick. It's negative." The voice of policeman Mike came over. Obviously, he was eavesdropping. "Thank God." Lily was overjoyed. "Now you can rest assured." After talking to Lily for a few more words, Adam hung up the phone. "I really envy her," Monica said with envy. "I didn't even have the chance to panic." Chandler. P.S. Thanks to the tree friend Yisheng for the reward. Chapter 543. This is okay. Adam's apartment. "Oh, come on." Facing Monica's deep sigh, Chandler, who was full of vigor and vitality, felt his legs go weak again for some reason, and shouted with great grievance. "What's wrong?" Monica said innocently. "I didn't say anything about you. I really just envy Lily for almost getting pregnant." "Don't pretend." Adam couldn't help but point it out. "It's as if you really haven't experienced this feeling. Do you need me to help you recall it?" "I haven't," Monica retorted. July 23, 1998, 8:12:35 p.m. Adam directly retrieved the original memory in his mind, with the time accurate to the second, leaving no chance for Monica to quibble. At that time, everyone was talking about the baby in Rachel's belly. "You took advantage of Chandler going to the bathroom and suddenly had an idea and asked us if we wanted to see something fun, saying that you wanted us to see how you scared Chandler. Then, when Chandler came out of the bathroom, you leaned over to him and told him seriously, 'I don't know if it's because Rachel is pregnant, but you feel you are ready to have a baby with him.' Ha ha ha." "I remember this." Phoebe laughed. Chandler only said okay, and Monica was scared to the point of breaking her voice. "Not a word." Monica covered her face, still unable to help but retort. "He also said a series of words. He said he had been thinking about it, and he felt we were ready." "This is not a word. It doesn't affect the result," Adam teased. "You stood up and backed away, taking a defensive posture, with an incredible look on your face, waving your hand to signal Chandler to stop talking and calm down first. You still asked me if I was kidding." Seeing that Adam was doing justice for him, Chandler couldn't help but complain. "You still asked me, 'Do you think we are ready to get pregnant now?'" Exclamation mark. The emphasis was on the word now, dragging your voice, spreading your hands, looking like you saw a ghost. He. Adam laughed. "Originally, you wanted to scare Chandler's voice to an octave higher, but you didn't expect to be scared like that first. At that time, your panic should not be much worse than Lily's suspected pregnancy of a 15-pound baby, right?" "That's different." Monica was very resilient and still wanted to refute. "At that time, we didn't know that we all had problems with our bodies and it was difficult to have children. We just got married and didn't want to have children in a short time. Besides, this is not the same thing at all. What I said is that I want to experience the panic of pregnancy, the kind of panic of eating the forbidden fruit but being unable to bear the consequences." "Oh," Adam said in a high voice, "I understand. What you really envy is the excitement of others eating forbidden fruit in high school, right?" "Yes." In order not to admit that she complained about Chandler, Monica also tried her best to confess some of the unspeakable thoughts in her heart as a big girl. "Actually, you don't have to envy others," Adam said seriously. "When you and Rachel went to Columbia University to play, didn't you also experience the real excitement of eating forbidden fruit?" "Ha ha ha." Phoebe laughed so hard that her stomach hurt. "Ross, shut up." Monica directly reached out and covered Phoebe's mouth, and then glared at Adam fiercely. "Okay, no more jokes." Adam stopped the topic in a proper way. "Scientific research has shown that most men gain weight quickly after marriage, but look at Chandler. Not only did he not gain weight, he lost a lot of weight, and his legs are weak all the time." "Monica, can't you see how hard Chandler works?" "I didn't say he didn't work hard," Monica said unhappily. "I don't blame him, I just blame myself. Look at Emma, what a beautiful child. I also want to have one with Chandler." At this point, Monica couldn't help but cover her face and cry. Chandler immediately got up, walked to her side, and hugged her in his arms. "Monica." Juno glanced at Adam and comforted him. "I heard Adam say that you are just in trouble, not infertile. Isn't it good now? No need to have any burden, no need for any protection, just enjoy the happy life after marriage. Maybe one day, greater happiness will knock on the door." "Really?" Monica looked at Juno with tears in her eyes. "Really?" Juno nodded heavily. "Thanks." "Ugh." Monica was about to thank him, but suddenly she felt sick. She pushed Chandler away, covered her mouth, and rushed into the bathroom. "Ugh." A dry retching sound came from the bathroom. "No way." Adam looked at Juno in amazement. "Is this possible?" Juno was also quite surprised. "What do you mean by no way?" Phoebe didn't react for a moment. "Didn't Juno say that Monica was pregnant?" Adam half complained and half joked. He. Juno heard the full of malice in Adam's words, and smiled. "Maybe I really have this ability, Do you want to make someone pregnant? I can help." As he said, he glanced at Peggy. Adam's mouth twitched. "Pregnant?" Chandler and Phoebe, who were standing at the door of the bathroom, shouted at the same time. "Pregnant?" Monica, who had just vomited in the bathroom, washed up, and was about to come out, heard this and shouted in a voice that was 80 times louder. "Adam, what did you say?" Monica pushed Chandler away and rushed directly to Adam, looking at him expectantly. "Are you saying I'm pregnant?" "Maybe." Adam quickly lowered Monica's expectations and reminded her, nausea is just one of the symptoms of pregnancy. It must be tested with a pregnancy test stick. At this point, he added, sometimes the test results of a pregnancy test stick are not 100% accurate. You have to go to the hospital for an ultrasound test to confirm it. Bang! Monica was too lazy to listen anymore. She grabbed her bag and rushed into the bathroom again. Chandler smiled embarrassedly at everyone. "Ever since Adam asked us to have a physical examination and knew that we had difficulty in fertility, she has wanted to have a baby very much. So she always carries pregnancy test sticks with her. She always has 5 in her bag." He didn't say anything else. That is, in the past few months, Monica has used more than a dozen pregnancy test sticks. Although there are no symptoms, she will immediately use the pregnancy test stick to test when she feels it. Chandler has said this to her several times. But Monica, who had obsessive-compulsive disorder, didn't listen at all. Chandler later thought that this was a rare half-time break, so he didn't care about her. He didn't need the money for the pregnancy test sticks. His waist and life were the most important. Everyone was stunned. She really wanted to have a baby. 10 minutes later. 2 bars. "I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant." Monica's surprised cry pierced the sky. Chapter 544. His contribution. Adam's apartment. Pregnant. Chandler fell into a trance when he heard the deafening shout. At this moment, Chandler, a lazy man who didn't know how to grow crops, finally understood the feelings of the farmers. It turns out that hard work really pays off, and this kind of reward is so happy, far beyond everything. For a moment, the hard work day and night before, the fatigue of supporting the waist and legs, seemed to be filled with sweet memories and full of pride. Labor is the most glorious. "Adam, Monica is pregnant." "Congratulations." But Adam didn't finish his words, and was hugged by Chandler. Hearing Chandler's constant repetition in his ears, he couldn't help but smile and patted Chandler on the back. "Congratulations, Chandler, you are going to be a father." For a moment, Adam's heart was also full of emotion and relief. In the previous life, watching Friends, a big regret was that this loving couple who had the most compatible 3 views could not give birth to their own love crystallization. Although in the end, adopting other people's children, twins, seems to be a happy ending. But the biological mother of the adopted twins looks silly, and she doesn't even know whose child is in her belly. One of the biological fathers is a murderer. Not to mention that this kind of adoption does not hide any information. What if the biological parents of the twins regret it one day, or have malicious intentions? At that time, it will be a bloody mess and the family will be in turmoil. In the final analysis, it is better to have your own children, the children who inherit your blood and genes. The shadows of yourself and your lover are filled between your eyebrows, and they are naturally loving, right? Chandler seems to be indifferent, and even wants to borrow other people's gold to fulfill Monica's dream of having a biological child. But that's because he loves Monica too much. In front of Monica, who once wanted it so much that she went crazy, even if he wanted it again, he could only act indifferent and comfort his lover first. And now Chandler has shown his truest thoughts. "I can't help being ecstatic. Honey, we have a baby." At this time, Monica walked out of the bathroom with an exaggerated expression. She looked like she was about to dance and repeatedly emphasized in a high voice, "We have a baby." "Yes, we have a baby." Chandler let go of Adam, walked over and half-huggled Monica in his arms, and kissed her forehead. "Don't get excited." Adam smiled and said, "You may be pregnant now. Be careful with the baby. You will be banned from participating in competitions like the Geller Cup in the future." The Geller Cup is a violent football game between Ross and Monica. Oh, Monica made a sound of annoyance, but her eyes were full of smiles. She was about to have a baby to play with, who wanted to play such childish games with her silly brother. She was about to become a mother, and the Geller Cup might become a real competition in the future. Ross, the eldest brother, already has 2 children, and he would have a few more in the future. She and Chandler should also have a few more. When the 2 children form a team to compete, wouldn't it be more interesting than her and Ross playing one-on-one? And she knew that her and Chandler's children would definitely win, just like their mother always won against their Uncle Ross. Of course, it's no fun for you to play now. It's totally unfair, Adam joked. Push your belly forward and see if Ross dares to grab the football from you. He dares. Monica and Chandler shouted in unison. The eyes of the couple who are about to become parents are full of protection and fighting light. OMG, Monica, you and Chandler finally have a child. Phoebe also came forward to congratulate, and hugged the 2 of them with both hands. Yeah. Woo. Monica laughed, and burst into tears. Juno looked at Adam with a smile and winked. Adam's mouth twitched, but after thinking about it, he still came forward and hugged Chandler and Monica from behind. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Everyone played hugging together, which is a classic quorum scene in American TV series. 4 people hugged each other. Hug until Monica stopped crying. Juno, Karen, and Peggy stood quietly aside, watching this scene. When everyone relaxed, they stepped forward to congratulate. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Monica wiped her tears and smiled happily. Adam, thank you, Adam. After thanking everyone, Monica and Chandler looked at Adam and thanked him sincerely. If Adam hadn't asked them to have a physical examination and found out that they had fertility problems in advance, they would not have chosen contraception and directly chose to prepare for pregnancy when they were in the peak of their physical condition. Then in their situation, the chance of pregnancy would be getting smaller and smaller. When they really wanted to have a child, and then found out, it would probably be hopeless. And if Adam hadn't urged Chandler to do morning exercises every day, and even asked her to do morning exercises together, their bodies would not be as good as they are now. Chandler's golden vitality would not have been greatly improved, and he would not have been able to withstand the high frequency of destruction some time ago. In that case, there would probably be no good news now. Although they don't know that if it weren't for Adam, they would never have their own biological children. It doesn't prevent them from knowing who they should thank the most for this result. You're welcome. Adam smiled and said, who made me the child's godfather? By the way, I'll be the child's godfather, right? That's right. Compared to being reluctant to be the godfather of Ross and Rachel's daughter Emma, Adam took the initiative to ask to be the godfather of Chandler and Monica's child. Of course, no problem. You are the child's only godfather. Monica and Chandler blurted out. Wow, Rachel will probably be angry when she hears this news. Phoebe shouted, Adam, do you want to treat me differently? I can't help it, I'm Chandler's best man. Adam didn't argue. What do you mean there is no difference in treatment? There is a difference in treatment. He also spent a lot of thought on this child and placed a lot of his feelings in it in advance. What's wrong with treating him differently? Of course, he still has to find a reason to prevaricate others. There is also a distinction in the circle of friends. Adam is Chandler's best man, and it is reasonable to treat Chandler's child a little differently. Looking at Chandler and Monica's reactions, they were completely heartfelt, without Rachel's obviously utilitarian mentality of wanting everything. Let's tell Ross, Rachel and Joey the good news, Phoebe shouted. Don't. Adam stopped her and said, wait until we are completely sure, then tell them the good news. How can we be sure? Monica was shocked, and the smile on her face froze slightly. The accuracy of the pregnancy test stick is only between 85% and 95%. Adam smiled and said, although it is already very high, it is better to go to the hospital for an ultrasound examination. It will be more reassuring to see it with your own eyes, right? What are you waiting for? Monica touched her belly and was about to go out. Let's go together. Juno smiled. So, everyone accompanied Monica to the medical center. Chapter 545. Do you want to have a baby too? Medical center. Adam personally performed an ultrasound on Monica. Where is it? Where is it? Why can't I see it? Monica turned her head to look at the screen, but she only saw a lonely thing. Are you not pregnant? Chandler said nervously. Don't worry, You are really pregnant. Adam smiled and pointed to a small dot on the screen. This is the embryo. Is this it? Monica was worried. Although I can't see it clearly, Phoebe reminded. But it should be. You forgot the ultrasound examination picture of Ross's son Ben. It was the same. We searched for a long time and couldn't find it. Yes, Adam confirmed. He is less than 2 centimeters now. But why can't I hear the heartbeat? Chandler said worriedly. How long has it been? Adam couldn't help laughing and said, it takes 30 to 40 days for the gestational sac to form, 40 to 50 days for the embryo bud to form, and 50 to 60 days for the fetal heart to form. That is, you can only hear the fetal heartbeat when you are about 2 months pregnant. Monica found it too early. Then how old is my child now? Monica asked. No one knows this. Adam joked. You guys are so intensive in making babies every day. It's possible any day. We can only make a rough estimate based on the day your last menstruation ended. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed when they heard it. Normal people, unless they are in the passionate love period, will have sex every 3 or 5 days. Those who have sex 7 times a night every day are just a beautiful wish. Normal people can't bear it at all. So this kind of intermittent sex can accurately determine the day of conception. From time to time, it can also be inferred whether the neighbor Wang has climbed over the wall. Of course, later, with the widespread dissemination of physiological knowledge, the devil is always stronger than the saint. It is getting harder and harder to figure out whether the man next door has cheated on his wife or not, because if the old driver really wants to cheat, she can make her husband and the man next door become real like-minded people every day, and neither of them can be missing. You can calculate it. If you find a problem, I lose, as long as the genetic characteristics of the man next door are not so exaggerated, and do not cause others to point fingers again and again, so that the husband will suspect and go for a paternity test. That's it for a lifetime. For example, the 2 or 3 things that Ted's romantic mother and the romantic Uncle Ted next door have to say. That's almost 40 days. Monica calculated. In half a month, I can hear the baby's heartbeat. Yeah, Adam nodded. Then he began to explain a series of precautions. I'm going to call Joey and tell them the good news. Phoebe couldn't help it anymore and called relatives and friends. Great. I'm going to be an uncle again. This is Ross and Rachel. My boy has finally grown up. I'm proud of you. This is Joey. Thank Adam for me. This is Chandler's mother Nora. Hope it's a girl. This is Chandler's father Helena. I never thought our Monica would have this day. This is Monica's mother and father. After a lively circle, Chandler took Monica back home. From now on, Monica is a giant panda. The smile on Chandler's face never stopped except when he heard his father Helena's meaningful congratulations. Not only do you have a child, but you can also have a long period of recuperation. At least you don't have to work at the dock for 3 months. Minus the 1 month that has passed, there are still 2 months of recuperation. Everything is so beautiful. Thanksgiving night ended early. Everyone went home. Juno was on Adam's left, Peggy was on his right, and Karen walked on the other side of Juno. The 4 walked side by side on the street. How is it? Juno smiled and said, watching your friends get married and have children one by one. Do you have this impulse? No. Adam shook his head. They are all in their 30s, and I'm just in my early 20s. It's different. Peggy, what about you? Juno leaned over and looked at Peggy again. Me? Peggy was stunned and shook her head and said, not interested. She has just become an adult, and her career is also in the period of full development. How can she have such thoughts? Then she looked at Adam, and then at Juno and Karen. Are you interested? I have had this idea. Juno smiled and said, Adam knows that when I was in high school, I thought about what it would be like to get pregnant and have a child. It must be very interesting. Adam's mouth twitched, and he had an inexplicable feeling of uneasiness about this topic. He glanced at Karen, but saw that she had no expression on her face. Facing Adam's gaze, she just silently put on the hood of her top. Juno and Karen like to wear this kind of hoodie very much. Even if they are not wearing red hoodies today, Adam's heartbeat inexplicably stagnated when this action was made. There is murderous intent. What about now? Peggy asked curiously. Now, Juno dragged her voice and laughed. I often have this idea, but there is no rush. Just like Adam said, We are only in our early 20s, too young. You and Karen? Peggy glanced at Karen with a blank expression. Adopt? Let's see. Juno laughed. It's better to have your own children. I think the patient Adam met last time is a good example. Ahem. Facing the gazes of the three women, Adam coughed lightly and laughed dryly. It's not that good. Why think so much now? It's as if you are going to have a baby right away. It seems that this kind of thing is really contagious. Ha ha ha. This awkward laugh was too abrupt, so it attracted the attention of many people. At this glance, there were too many handsome men and beautiful women. The onlookers immediately looked left and right to check the location of the camera. In a city as big as New York, filming movies and TV series on the street is also a routine operation. Go. Adam ran forward in an exaggerated manner. Childish. Idiot. Boring. Peggy, Juno, and Karen ignored Adam and walked slowly. Adam ran to the corner and watched Juno walking in the middle from a distance. Peggy and Karen were on the left and right, walking and chatting leisurely, and he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. This Juno. Adam looked at it and complained in his heart. What does it mean? The patient that Juno was talking about was naturally the pair of best friends who bought Joey's gold, got pregnant at the same time as her best friend, and were preparing to give birth to a pair of half-siblings to become a real family. No way. Adam couldn't help but think of the night when he was hungover. Until now, he still didn't remember what happened that night, but now he couldn't help but guess. No. Then Adam denied himself. Juno's routine is too deep. God knows if she said this on purpose to make me suspicious so that she can vent her anger for her favorite Heather. Well, don't be fooled. P.S. Thank you for the reward from Lost in Wanren Mountain. Chapter 546 Students and Mentors. Late at night, as usual, Juno and Karen stayed, while Adam and Peggy discussed quantum physics and then had a deeper spiritual exchange. Are you studying mathematics? Peggy asked suddenly after a moment of blankness. Yes, Adam nodded. In addition to medical books, his study room has also recently added a large number of mathematical monographs. His attitude of studying is obvious. Why? Peggy turned sideways and looked at Adam. Adam paused and smiled. Of course, it's to study medicine better. Mathematics is the foundation of all sciences. The advent of the Duncan Adler formula is the best proof. Since I have the energy and ability, it's not a bad thing to learn more. You are such a strange person. Peggy stretched out her hands to pinch Adam's chin, shaking it left and right, and asked curiously, the IQ you showed before was the same as that of ordinary people, and you didn't have any talent at all, but in just the past few years, you can play chess with me while repeating such complicated data accurately. In the intervals between studying medicine, I read your reading notes, and your progress in self-studying mathematics is also extremely amazing. IQ may be improved after birth, but it is definitely not possible to improve it in such a leap. Can you tell me how you did it? Couldn't I have deliberately concealed my stupidity in the past? Adam smiled. No. Peggy shook her head. That kind of stupidity can't be pretended. Adam's mouth twitched. What are you doing? Peggy frowned. I'm not sure either. I need to ask myself and then tell you the answer. Adam said seriously. It's the same thing again. Are you annoying? Peggy rolled her eyes. Last time they talked in the middle of the night, Adam solemnly swore on his conscience. Now he's asking himself again. What the hell? I'm sorry. Adam changed direction. Peggy didn't want to talk anymore. I'm not Leonard. Adam smiled proudly at this. What's the relationship with this Leonard? Peggy couldn't help asking. She knew Adam's silly friend. He had a decent IQ, but he was always timid and didn't dare to look directly at girls when talking to them. How could such a person do the same thing as Adam now? Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing and told Peggy some of Leonard's embarrassing stories. Of course, at this time, Leonard hadn't met Benny yet, so Adam directly referred to him as a girl. This is a short story recorded in the book The Helpless Ado written by Leonard's mother Beverly. To put it simply, it is easy to change a country but difficult to change one's nature. Leonard has liked the left side since he was a child, and he has always liked the left side, and he will always like the left side. He is indeed a child. He does not understand the mystery of having everything. Do you really want to study mathematics? Peggy was also used to Adam's shamelessness, and quickly skipped the process of destroying vocabulary, focusing on mathematics. Yeah, Adam nodded. You work hard and finish your undergraduate and graduate studies quickly, then you can study for my doctorate, Peggy said seriously. Are you going to teach? Adam was surprised. In the United States, professors in universities are divided into two categories. One category is teaching while conducting research, and the promotion system is assistant professor, associate professor, and full professor. The other category is dedicated to research, and the promotion system is research assistant professor, research associate professor, and research full professor. Ordinary doctors can be assistant professors or research assistant professors. But because assistant professor is the only way to become a professor, with more and more doctoral students, this relatively stable position is becoming increasingly scarce. Continue to upgrade. Not only does it require a 3 to 7 year probation period, but it also requires outstanding academic research, teaching research results, and recognition from colleagues in the school. However, both associate professors and full professors are lifelong positions. Similar to the regular organization of the East Country, the president cannot fire him unless he provokes the wrath of heaven and people, and there are higher salaries and benefits. This is also the reason why everyone applauded and celebrated after Sheldon went crazy, and then started a fierce competition. For example, Sheldon, at first, he was just a research assistant professor, specializing in string theory and theoretical physics. At this time, he could be a lecturer and transfer to a teaching assistant professor. It was just that the first time he tried, he turned around in exchange for all the students raising their middle fingers. Afterwards, I read the extremely harsh comments of the students. What Einstein's theory of relativity is used here. It is completely applicable. Dr. Cooper's class makes time pass extremely slowly. Dr. Cooper is like a big cockroach, kill me quickly. Sheldon, who originally thought that he had successfully educated a generation of people, was furious. Thinking of the fact that he had failed to teach his brother George in high school, he completely gave up the idea of educating these stupid humans. In this way, he naturally gave up the path of promotion to teaching professor. However, when the string theory research entered a bottleneck period, he could not stand the changes in various things around him, so he chose to escape directly. When he came back, Caltech transferred him from research assistant professor to teaching assistant professor in order to retain him, a talent with a beautiful mind. Sheldon's response to this was, I came back after a lap, but you want to promote me and give me a raise, and then let me pass on knowledge to the next generation? You are so perverted. As an assistant professor, a teaching assistant professor who teaches while doing research is obviously more difficult and has a higher status than a research assistant professor who only does research. Sheldon had no choice but to agree to become a teaching assistant professor who teaches while doing research, just like Leonard. That's right. Surprise. Leonard's position has always been higher than Sheldon's. He once threatened Sheldon not to go to the comic book store, and forced Sheldon to give a speech to his students in his class. Therefore, he is an assistant professor who teaches while conducting research. However, in the scientific contempt chain, he is in a position of despised by Sheldon, and Sheldon can't be an assistant professor just because he can't communicate with students, not because he doesn't have the qualifications. Just look at Sheldon, who accepted Caltech's abnormal suggestion and became an assistant professor who was also responsible for teaching. He can immediately teach doctoral students. Howard wants to study Sheldon's doctorate. You know, doctoral supervisors are generally full professors, and only a very small number of outstanding associate professors and assistant professors are qualified to be doctoral supervisors. Peggy is now a research assistant professor, but as long as she wants, the school is 100% willing to let her transfer to a teaching assistant professor. And with Peggy's excellence and the position of assistant professor, it is not impossible for her to be a doctoral supervisor. I have this idea, Peggy said. There are too many undergraduates and graduate students. I don't want to teach. For PhD students, I can only teach you. After you get your PhD in mathematics, I will give up teaching and return to being an assistant professor. Well, maybe you will be an associate professor or a full professor by then. You want to teach for me? Adam was a little touched. I will teach you, as long as you reach the level. You can graduate easily. Peggy nodded. This way you can arrange your time freely and it won't delay your career as a doctor. No, I just want to learn more about mathematics and don't care about a PhD in mathematics. Adam smiled and said, "It is indeed convenient for you to teach me, but it is not good to say it out. Even if you get a PhD in mathematics, there will definitely be people gossiping about it." "Is that so?" Peggy was stunned. "But I still have to thank you." Adam raised his lips. "And you don't have to teach me in the classroom." Peggy, P.S. Thank you for the reward from the plane shuttle. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 547 Great Joy. On Thanksgiving night, Peggy wanted to be Adam's mentor. In order to avoid being accused of being a gigolo, Adam decided to be a gigolo. So, he began to ask Peggy about sports mathematics. Although this is an everyday world without super magic power, as Peggy pointed at Adam's forehead, at that moment, Adam's soul seemed to be shaken out, floating in the air, watching the body on the bed doing the Yijinjing and Shinzujing. Just like Doctor Strange was opened to a new world by the Supreme Sorcerer Ancient One, Adam suddenly had a deeper understanding of Buddhism. Everything is like the law, like a dream, like a bubble, like dew and like lightning. So we should view it in this way. Don't stand there. Ask any questions quickly. Peggy's soul also floated out, interrupting Adam's meditation. "Oh." Adam reacted and quickly began to ask Professor Adler about various mathematical problems he encountered during his self-study. Peggy is indeed a genius mathematician, and she gave Adam quick and accurate answers to all of them. In the past, Adam would have been confused, but when his IQ was in sync with Peggy's answers were brief and precise. Adam seemed to have been enlightened. His math level improved rapidly. Peggy was also inspired by Adam's genius questions from different angles, with wisdom shining in her eyes and a smile on her lips. That night, the two of them were very happy physically and mentally. The next morning, Adam sent Juno and Karen away, called his assistant Lisa and asked her to pick up Peggy at noon, and went to the hospital in high spirits, once again devoting himself to curing diseases, saving lives and prolonging life. Emergency room. "Good morning, Dr. Duncan," the most understanding little nurse greeted enthusiastically. "Good morning, Violet." Adam smiled. "Were the two friends of Dr. Duncan yesterday?" the doctor and nurse, the most understanding little nurse asked curiously. "I heard that they cooperated very well." "She was on leave yesterday and didn't come. After all, the highway pileup is not as good as the train derailment accident. Yesterday was Thanksgiving again." In addition to the chief surgeon and the attending physicians of several departments, there are still a large number of medical staff who have not returned. The most understanding nurse is one of them. "Yeah." Adam nodded, and then thought of the tacit cooperation between Karen and Juno, and couldn't help but look at the most understanding nurse in front of him. Juno has Karen. Alice Gray has a full-time surgical nurse for 18 years. He should also have a nurse with tacit cooperation. This nurse, first, talent is required. This is the most basic requirement. It is both technical talent and clever talent. In the future, Adam's medical team must be the best, otherwise it is useless for the king to lead the Bronze. Second, it must be young. After all, it will follow Adam for a long time. If it is too young, not only will there be communication problems, but there will also be problems of replacement and retraining in the future. Third, it must be eye-catching. Even if it is not required to be pleasing to the eye, it must be comfortable to look at. There is also the issue of attitude. Even if there is no personal worship, the respect for Adam must be indispensable. Fans are not needed, but Yuba is still okay. Otherwise, it is inevitable to stumble when using it. The most understanding nurse seems to have all three, technology and cleverness. Needless to say, there are only wrong names, not wrong nicknames. The most understanding name is not only about gossip, but also her nursing skills are among the best in the hospital. Otherwise, when you are arguing with others, you will not be confident. Young. The most understanding little nurse is just 20. Eye-catching. The most understanding little nurse is his loyal fan in the hospital, and her appearance is also above average, which is very suitable for Adam's eyes. Of course, even if the most understanding little nurse fully meets these requirements, but it still can't be compared with Karen. There is no way. The tacit understanding is really not as good as Karen to Juno. These thoughts flashed through his mind, and Adam couldn't help but communicate with the most understanding little nurse for a while, asking the most understanding little nurse how she spent Thanksgiving yesterday. Since you are determined to train the most understanding little nurse as a member of your future team, you naturally have to understand some of the ways of dealing with people and living conditions of the most understanding little nurse. There are many people in the American TV world who go to two extremes in life and work, because life eventually affects work. Doctor, at this time, a woman came in with a man. My husband has abdominal pain. Adam walked over, checked him, and asked as usual, did he eat anything? No. The woman hesitated, and the man shouted directly, okay, we need to take an X-ray for you first. Adam glanced at John Carter, who was walking sleepily in the distance, and raised his voice, Carter, take Moira Paskovitz. The woman saw Adam looking at her and quickly said her husband's name. Take this Mr. Paskovitz to do an X-ray, Adam ordered. Yes, Dr. Duncan. John Carter was shocked and ran over quickly. The most understanding nurse had already pushed the wheelchair and let Mr. Paskovitz, who had abdominal pain, sit down, and reminded Dr. Carter, give Dr. Duncan's name. Carter nodded, pushed the wheelchair, and went to the X-ray room. How is he recently? Adam looked at Carter's back and asked the most understanding nurse. Not bad. The most understanding nurse also knew that Adam was determined to train Carter, so she had been secretly observing Carter's performance. After thinking for a while, she gave her evaluation. Among medical interns, he has a good foundation, a good attitude, and is very hard-working. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, and other medical interns went back to celebrate the holiday. Only he stayed. When he was tired, he took a rest in the duty room. In that case, why didn't he come to me? Adam smiled. I know that. The most understanding nurse smiled and said, he is still thinking about the authentic Oriental braised pig's trotters that Dr. Duncan likes to eat. He has been learning it recently, but it seems that he has not yet mastered it, so he is embarrassed to come to you. Not flexible enough. Adam shook his head, but his attitude is okay. The new year is coming soon. In a few months, the one-year internship period of Adam and his batch of interns will be over. After passing the exam, they will be formal residents. At that time, they will also start to guide new interns. For a graduating student like John Carter who gets the chance to come here for internship first, as long as he performs well, he will be able to stay and get the opportunity of residency training at the medical center and become the next batch of interns. Of course, if Adam asks, it will be a sure thing, since he is willing to learn from Adam. After secretly observing his character, virtue, and talent, Adam is willing to give him a chance. Letting him learn the authentic braised pig's trotters is just a joke, but it is much better than Dr. House next door who humiliates his doctors in various ways. Dr. Duncan, this is an X-ray. After a while, John Carter came over with an X-ray. What is this? Adam took a look and asked. Gastrointestinal stones? Carter asked uncertainly. How to treat it? Adam asked again. Injected defecation promoter. Carter said, let him excrete naturally. Such a large mass of foreign matter cannot be excreted naturally. Adam shook his head. Come with me. Let's go ask Mr. Paskovitz what he ate. Chapter 548. The poor author. In the ward, the patient, Mr. Paskovitz, was lying there with his eyes blank. His wife sat beside him and started knitting a sweater. Mr. Paskovitz, the X-rays are out. You have a large foreign body in your stomach and intestines. Now the urinary tract can't get rid of it. Adam held the X-ray and explained the condition. Oh, great. The patient's wife, while knitting a sweater, complained. Doctor, can you reach into his buttocks and take it out directly? Baby, please. The patient immediately shouted in dissatisfaction. No. Adam pulled the corners of his mouth and maintained a professional smile. Such a large foreign body, blocked there, must be surgically removed. Now there is a question, Mr. Paskovitz. Can you tell me what you ate? Garbage. Absolutely garbage. The patient looked at Adam and said vaguely, "Can you explain it more clearly?" Adam glanced at the patient's wife. "We need to know the situation in advance so that we can prepare better." "Tell him what you ate." More. Seeing that her husband was still unwilling to speak, the patient's wife suppressed a smile and said, "Doctor, let me remind you that he is a writer and suffers for his work." "Writer's block?" Adam nodded. "It is indeed very tormenting. Do you also know the feeling of writer's block?" The patient looked skeptical. "Of course." Adam smiled. "The feeling of not being able to write a single word. The more you write, the slower you write. The brain is like ate treasure porridge, gurgling, muddled. Every time you write a sentence, your temples throb wildly, the back of your head becomes dizzy, you can't use any strength in your body, you want to cry but can't, and you feel desperate with nowhere to escape when disaster strikes." "Ugh!" The patient slapped the bed and shouted, "That's the feeling." "You really understand. You describe it so well." Although this paragraph about writer's block was not written by Adam, but when Adam had just started writing online novels in his previous life, and fell asleep with the sound of Wulan Wei's Yuan at night, he heard Lu Ziukai's words again, and he felt that these words really touched Adam's heart. Adam was not good at writing before, but he loved reading novels. Later, he read too many novels and it was difficult to find books that suited his taste. That's when he had the idea of writing. At first, he was very emotional. "It was obvious that I was the one in a million master. Like ordinary people, becoming a god with one book is not a dream. But when I sat in front of the computer and couldn't type a single word, I was hit hard in an instant. Obviously, I was not. The first attempt ended there. Then I rekindled the idea for a while, gave up, and rekindled the idea again. It lasted for several years, and finally I barely got started. I officially started writing. During this period, writer's block was a common thing. Lu Ziukai's words were the true voice of the screenwriter, so it not only resonated with Adam in his previous life, but also made foreigners applaud. There is no other reason. It is too real and cruel. This sentence revealed the hardship of the author. Of course our Dr. Duncan understands. Carter, who was standing behind Adam, couldn't help but say, "He is not only a doctor, but also a famous writer." "Writer, Duncan." The patient was stunned, looked at Adam, and suddenly realized, "You are the writer of The Lord of Mysteries, Adam Duncan." "Yes." Adam smiled and nodded. "Now can you tell me what you ate?" He ate his novel. The patient's wife, who was knitting a sweater, finally couldn't help but say it. "What?" Carter was stunned. "I ate the novel I wrote, the whole book, every page of that pile of garbage." The patient shouted. "I have read all the drafts, and it is not as bad as you think." The patient's wife complained. "If you hadn't eaten it all, maybe you could have let this excellent fellow doctor take a look, and maybe the ending would not be as embarrassing as it is now." The patient paused. Obviously, he had thought of this problem. If a famous writer took a fancy to it and recommended it, then he might really become famous. Unfortunately, everything is too late now. "That's rotten," the patient shouted angrily. 3 years, the patient's wife sneered. "I listened to your anger and complaints just to see you eat it in the end." 3 years? Adam was surprised. "Write a book, Mr. Paskowitz? Have you ever considered changing your job and writing while working? Maybe you will be more inspired." "I'm a writer," the patient said excitedly. "I don't need a backup plan." "Okay." Adam shrugged and didn't persuade him anymore. He wrote a book in 3 years, but not only did it not get published, but he also ate it all and went to the hospital for expensive surgery. This input-output ratio is definitely for love. Adam was a little indignant for a while. Such a man actually has a wife. Think about the many part-time writers who generate electricity for love in the past life. After finishing their heavy work during the day, they have to stay up late to write at night, risking sudden death to earn a little hard-earned money for writing. Many people generate electricity for love with nothing. Even some full-time online writers who make money are discriminated against in the blind date market. Unlike Mr. Paskowitz, who couldn't write a book for 3 years, his wife never left him alone. What a difference. It turns out that the online writers in his previous life were the most miserable. Comparison is frustrating. "Mr. Paskowitz, we have booked an operating room for you." "In an hour." Adam was talking about the operation arrangement when his eyes suddenly fixed. "What's wrong, doctor?" The patient's wife still loved her husband and immediately became nervous when she saw this. "He's sweating." Adam's mind flashed through countless reasons for the disease and asked, "How much paper did you eat?" "A lot," said the patient's wife. "Carter, draw blood from Mr. Paskovitz and send it to the toxicology laboratory for testing," Adam ordered. "Yes, doctor." Carter hurried forward and drew blood samples. "Doctor, what's going on?" the patient's wife said worriedly. "I suspect Mr. Paskovitz has been poisoned," Adam explained. "When printing paper, there will be harmful substances, such as heavy metals such as lead and mercury. Once excessively enriched in the human body, it will cause heavy metal poisoning." Mr. Paskovitz swallowed a lot of paper, so the possibility of poisoning will be greatly increased. "Did you hear that?" The patient's wife was distressed and complained, "Damn it, even if those are garbage, you can't just burn them directly, you have to eat them all. Do you want to be a trash can?" "I want to completely forget it and start a new book again." The patient's face turned pale and sweated profusely, shouting, "Swallowing it is a necessary ritual." Adam had no choice but to shake his head. Soon, Carter came with the test report. "It's mercury poisoning. Give him an injection of anti-leukocytes." Adam instructed the nurse. "This is the standard treatment for mercury poisoning, which can absorb the mercury in the patient's body. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 20180915164021291 for the reward." Chapter 549, The Gap Between People Medical Center. An hour later, "I put all my efforts into that damn book, but now it's stuck in my hip." Mr. Paskovitz, the patient, cried out in frustration. "And it poisoned you," the patient's wife complained. "Well, now we need to have surgery to get the book back to the library." Adam smiled. "Audrey, if I die." On the way to the operating room, the patient Mr. Paskovitz was still chattering to his wife. "Engrave that sentence on my tombstone. Please don't die." A trace of worry flashed across the eyes of the patient's wife Audrey, but she was unforgiving. Many masters were unknown during their lifetime, but became famous all over the world because of their works after their death. But you didn't even leave a manuscript. Others can't even see what kind of novel you are stuck in, so please don't die. The patient was furious. "Audrey, can't you say something nice?" "I'll tell you something nice after you finish the operation," the patient's wife said unhappily. "Before that, you are a fool who forced yourself to this point. You don't deserve to hear nice things." Adam sighed in his heart. Such a wife is really rare. He has achieved nothing in 3 years. I have never heard of his name before, and I have never seen him and his wife mention that he has published any novel that can be said. Judging from their attire, they don't look like wealthy families who have already achieved financial freedom and are only pursuing the realization of their self-worth. The source of income for this life is mostly supported by his wife alone. This is not like the experience of normal people in reality, but a bit like the standard treatment of the poor scholars in the stories of Liao Zai. Operating room. "Dr. Duncan, is it really so difficult to be a writer?" Richard, the chief of surgery, stood in the position of the first assistant, watching Adam's extremely skilled surgical skills. There was no point in his guidance. He was bored for a moment, thinking that Adam was also a writer like this strange patient, so he couldn't help asking. "It's the same as all industries. It depends on talent." Adam smiled while performing the operation and answered, "It's difficult for those who can't do it, and it's not difficult for those who can do it." Our Mr. Paskovitz is probably a person who has no talent but forces himself to think that he has a talent for writing. Dr. Duncan must be a very talented person. The operating nurse immediately agreed with a smile. "Haha." Adam shook his head and laughed. "I'm not talented in writing either." He easily earned his first pot of gold by borrowing the masterpieces of super gods. "You know, this is a work of proof that a super god has honed for many years." Naturally, Adam seems very talented. But the truth is, if Adam were to write a new work now, it would definitely surprise everyone and make people suspect that he had plagiarized before. The spirituality of writing has no direct connection with high-definition image-like memory and genius IQ of evolving the universe. Of course, with his current endurance and speed, his typing speed must be countless times faster than in his previous life. But in the United States, where there are no online articles and only publishing can be done. Super God's typing speed, without quality, is useless. Therefore, after plagiarizing the Lord of Mysteries, he will not write a book anymore. He will stop writing after pretending to be awesome and making enough money. Ah, Dr. Duncan is so young, but he has become famous with one book. Isn't he talented? Another nurse exclaimed. Not really. That's because you haven't seen truly talented writers. Adam smiled and said, let me put it this way. For people like us, before writing a book, we have to conceive the idea first, then write an outline, then look up information, enrich and expand the outline, and it's best to write a detailed outline so that we have a clear idea of what we want to write. Then, we start writing the opening chapter. Usually, we write many versions and keep revising them to make it the best. Many people write tens of thousands of words first, and then compress and revise them more than 10 times until they are satisfied. After the entire article is written, the compression and modification steps have to be repeated as a whole. Doesn't it sound troublesome? Yeah, the nurse nodded immediately. Only by striving for perfection can you produce good works. Chief of Surgery Richard nodded. Just like us doctors, only by laying a solid foundation through repeated practice can we become famous doctors and better help patients. That's true. Adam did not refute Chief of Surgery Richard's words, and smiled. But there are always geniuses in the world. For real geniuses, outlines and details? What's that? Write the opening chapter and compress it, write the whole chapter and repeat the process again. Don't be kidding. As long as the inspiration comes, open word and just do it. You don't have to think too much, and you can write thousands of words in an instant. This is not just random writing. The quality is higher than that of ordinary people who compress and condense more than 10 times. It is also very spiritual to read and can deeply move people. The speed is more than 10 times that of ordinary people, and he can maintain this speed and quality of writing almost every day. Just ask, how can ordinary people compare with this kind of talent? Isn't this exaggerated? The anesthesiologist stopped playing the crossword puzzle, raised his head and looked over, with a look of disbelief. How can there be such an exaggerated writing genius? Why have I never heard of newspaper reports? Masters are among the people. Adam smiled and said nothing more. He really doesn't have it now, but he will have it in the future. In his previous life, Adam was really envious of this super talent every day. He didn't even ask for speed and quality. If he had one, he would have soared to the sky long ago. The torment of writer's card? It doesn't exist. Tens of thousands of words are updated every day, and it doesn't take all day. The weather is cold, so fly directly to Sanya and book a sea view room. Write in the morning, go to the beach in the afternoon, and go out at night. In his previous life, Adam always heard the descriptions of his predecessors in the group, and he was really envious of others. Okay, we found the real loner. At this time, Adam reminded. The nurse immediately brought a tray. Adam took the pliers and clamped out a large ball of oily and dark things, which was 10 centimeters long and 5 centimeters in diameter. The clumps of paper that were originally eaten were now compressed into a ball, as if they were one body, with a smooth appearance and no edges and corners. It was a bit like a clamshell being polished into a pearl. Does anyone want it? This may be the greatest novel in the United States. Richard, the chief of surgery, raised his voice and teased. Everyone looked at him, but no one responded. If you don't mind, I want to keep it as a souvenir. Adam smiled. Everyone looked at Adam, their eyes full of surprise. Then many people's eyes lit up. Could this really be the greatest novel in the United States? You know, I'm also a writer. Adam shrugged and said, the blood and tears history of this kind of writer is still very commemorative. Of course, no problem. Richard, the chief of surgery, smiled. The other people who were tempted were also discouraged. What a bullshit warning and commemoration. They are not writers. Why do they want this? P.S. Thank you for the reward from the Lord Solar Storm. Chapter 550, Good Intentions Lead to Bad Results. Medical Center. The operation was successfully completed. Noon. Cafeteria. Adam, do you still like to collect such disgusting things? Liz looked at the glass bottle on the table with disgust. In the bottle was the greatest novel in the United States. Is this disgusting? Adam glanced at her and said leisurely, It's really strange. There is a doctor who likes to collect feces. She is also called the gas girl and the shit doll. Many people think she is so cute and like her very much. Impossible. Liz immediately put down her knife and fork, swallowed her throat, and looked disgusted and unbelieving. How could there be such a person? And even if there is such a person, it can't be a female doctor. Most of them are gay male doctors. Look, Adam laughed and said, "You are narrow-minded. This gas girl doctor I am talking about looks at this collection hobby from a medical perspective. Each kind of feces is different, and different feces represent different diseases. Collecting this is also a disguised process of learning and memorizing, and the first thing you think of is disgusting, and you also think that it should not be a woman, but a gay male doctor. This is clearly an association from an indescribable perspective. They are both female doctors. Who is professional and who is not? Isn't it obvious at a glance? Are you ashamed?" Liz blushed a little, still a little unconvinced. "Let's not talk about gender, just this kind of thing. I don't believe there are really doctors who do this." "Which hospital is this female doctor you are talking about from? If you don't believe it, forget it." Adam didn't answer directly. He couldn't say that she was from Yunhua Hospital. "You must be talking nonsense." Seeing that Adam didn't answer, Liz felt more and more that she was right. This was simply made up by Adam. "As long as you are happy." Adam smiled and lowered his head to eat. At this time, the fat boy George came angrily and sat down with his buttocks. His white and fat face was full of unhappy. "Wow, our hero is here." Liz also put aside the matter of the shit doll doctor and clapped and shouted at George. "Haha." Adam also looked at George and laughed. "You." George was furious. "You dare to contradict Dr. Montgomery directly. You didn't wait for Dr. Montgomery to let you go. You just said, 'I don't need to take care of this case,' right?" "I know." And walked away. Liz laughed and said, "This is the first time we see such a manly behavior from you." "What do you mean?" George said with a dark face. "Why am I not a man at ordinary times?" "You are also a man at ordinary times. Very manly." Liz coaxed perfunctorily. "It's just that I am more manly this time." "Okay," Adam interrupted. "What will the family of the two-hearted person choose?" "That's right, the man who was suspected of being pregnant before, who almost made everyone think that he was a teratoma patient of the two-hearted person, was not a two-hearted person. But this time, a real two-hearted person came to the hospital. She looks like a girl. Her name is Beth. She was hospitalized because of enlarged pelvic lymph nodes and underwent an ultrasound biopsy. The results of the examination were shocking. The living tissue was not ovarian tissue, but high-playing tissue. Compared with this result, the real cause of the disease, the benign lymph node tumor, is simply not worth mentioning. They want us to hide it from Beth and remove the high-play tissue inside while doing the lymph node tumor removal surgery. That is, to do a heart-changing surgery. George said indignantly. "What kind of parents are these? They actually want to make a major decision that determines the child's life without telling the child himself." "You know, Beth has always felt that she is abnormal. She is very inferior because of this and feels that she is a freak. She is so old, but she is as open-minded as a boy. In order to be like other girls, she secretly takes birth control pills and takes 5 pills at a time. The reason is that she heard that this can promote development. But doing so is life-threatening. The current situation shows that Beth can also choose to be a boy. And being open-minded is not a shameful shortcoming. But her parents don't even say it, and they want to cut off this option directly." "I can't accept it." "Calm down," Adam said in surprise. "George, didn't Beth make you think of something? I haven't seen you so emotional before." "Yes," Liz echoed. "George, are you?" "I'm not." George met the two people's puzzled eyes, and when he understood what they meant, his fat face turned red. "I haven't had a heart change operation." "Don't get excited. We believe you." Adam smiled. "It's just that I rarely see you feel the same way. It's a little strange." "I really am not," George explained with a blushing face. "I just see my former self in Beth. It's not this kind of identification, but the situation of inferiority and loneliness in middle school. Beth has almost no friends and is often discriminated against and bullied. She can only draw comics. I was the same at the time. In order to have more friends, I joined the Dungeons and Dragons game club and served as the secretary and treasurer. What? Liz heard it and laughed exaggeratedly. George, you were really a homebody in middle school. Dungeons and Dragons again, Adam complained. Tell the truth, George, did you accept benefits from Dungeons and Dragons? What? George was confused, because it seems that all the lonely and unpopular people in middle school have gathered together to play Dungeons and Dragons. Adam complained helplessly, my friends are the same. They have loved this game since they were young. I always feel that Dungeons and Dragons has invested a lot of publicity in this game, which has led to this result. Sheldon always mentions Dungeons and Dragons. There was even 1 or 2 episodes where everyone played this game. With the popularity of the Big Bang Theory, it is hard for Adam not to wonder if it was paid a huge amount of advertising fees. That's fine. Now even George, a doctor, revealed his weird life in middle school, and it was also Dungeons and Dragons. Either he was paid, or he was doing it for the sake of smearing. Adam doesn't believe in other options. Then what are you going to do? Liz asked with concern. Tell Beth? Don't do it, Adam reminded. It's easy to get sued if you go against the wishes of the parents of an underage patient. Don't worry, I won't be that stupid, George pondered. I won't tell her directly. But I can let her ask her parents herself. I advise you not to do this, Adam said seriously. Their parents are not completely unreasonable. A daughter who has been raised for more than 10 years is suddenly going to become a son. This is too much of a shock to ordinary people. What will outsiders say about their family? Beth is still a child. She may think it's cool to be a boy now, but after the real change, what if she can't stand the advice of others and says weird things and regrets it? Should I hold you responsible or sue you? Your light words can really make my thoughts clear, but the 3 of them are the ones who will bear the consequences. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.